A visit to the old folks' home for some achievement talk, your weekly GTASC update with Wakapeil, and Game Club OXENFREE. This is Achievement Hunting 101.
Hi everybody and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101. I am all by myself this week because I missed last week and no one really wanted to record with me this week, so here I am alone, definitely without anybody else named Michelle or Nate. Hi guys.
Elle, what are you doing here?
Well, there's no sweaty men coming around and there's no baseball games. What?
You missed last week. You've been kicked from the show. It's just going to be me and Nate this week.
Yeah.
Because the kids are asleep.
I don't know how you got this address.
You know what? I bet it was
FOMO.
Corey. I bet it was Corey.
Mets optimism. Yeah.
Oh man, you just diagnosed my whole life.
I did. How's everyone doing today?
Here. You're here.
Oh, yeah, I am here.
Yeah.
I just came from a movie.
Oh.
Yeah. I saw...
Angry Birds 2?
No, that movie...
Emoji Movie 2?
That... I never got to see Angry Birds 2. I think it left the theater so fast because they knew I would come and raid all of their popcorn. I'm not sure. No, I saw Abominable.
Oh, I heard good things.
The new DreamWorks flick. And, of course, we saw it in 3D. But if you see it on a Tuesday, it's $10 tickets for AMC. So, we splurged mightily.
Wait, just for relativity's sake, Nate, movies cost
Here we go.
No. I just want to make sure.
I know where this is going.
I just want to make sure that, because there are some places where $10 for a cheap 3D movie still sounds like you're paying too much. What is the normal cost?
That's just you being cheap.
No,
it's at
I
least
don't watch
$20 to $25.
Okay, there you go.
For 3D, yes. If it's a matinee, it might be a little more like 12 or 13.
Around here, $10 for a 3D movie is pretty good. That is lower than I've ever seen it in recent times. In fact, if you go see a matinee here, the price for just a regular movie drops from like $12 down to like $11.80. Or something stupid.
Well,
it's only like $1 off. It's ridiculous.
Keep in mind that this is AMC, and these are the fancy reclining seats and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure there are cheaper theaters, but this one is a little more less cheap.
AMC stands for Achievement Movie Chatter, right?
Yes.
I think people would rather hear us talk about movies at this point.
It's on topic.
It's a Matrarch combine. Yeah.
Like farming equipment? Like farming simulator?
Like farming gamerscore?
No, I don't like talking about that.
Farming gamerscore. That's a good
Farm
one.
Together.
Oh.
Hey, you want to know what movie I want to see next?
Farm Together 2?
Hotel Transylvania 3?
I don't want to see Hotel Transylvania. It's a silly place. It's a silly place. This is all Corey and Kenny's fault.
Do we get to talk about games on this show?
So, RTDL team is over. I'm very sad. Like, really sad. Now no one's going to talk to me anymore. I mean, because I enjoy playing with my teammates so much.
Oh, we'll have a lot to say about RTDL later, though.
Can't talk about it now?
No, it's not on the rundown sheet till later.
What does this say? Best achievement or gaming story? Nate!
Yeah?
You just put a bunch of random vowels on your list. What is this?
I put all kinds of crazy, randomly capitalized letters and
I see vowels.
Other letters not capitalized.
Consonants.
Sure. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about some of these things that I wrote down. I had a fun experience with the RTDL. I'm not to go into too much detail, But
You said we're talking about this later.
I know, but this is something that happened to me. And
I say now.
Okay, I'll talk about this part
good.
now. My team has been knocking out full completions left and right, so they're getting a lot of extra rerolls, and I typically don't get full completions or anything past a 20. So I had a really bad draw this past month as well in terms of like having to get really far into games. I think that was kind of the story across the board. Regardless, one of the games I had to play was Spider-Man. I forget which one, but it was one of the earlier ones, so it wasn't maybe as good. And it was on the 360, so there was no X1 version of this. And the problem with 360 games is sometimes you go offline. Yeah, so I went offline with my Spider-Man. It was one I'd had this achievement before, or it was right after. There's this one scene at the end of like the first chapter where you have like 22 snipers on this ring of buildings, and you have to like airstrike them in a row. I've seen that one pop up a whole bunch of times. I just didn't do it because it was too much work to get back to that point. But the achievement I was actually supposed to get was a little bit farther than that. Well, I went in, I got the airstrike one on my way to this other one. I was like feeling really good about myself. I had to pause it. I had to take my dog to the vet. I came back from the vet. Did not think that maybe I had been logged out. Got the next completion, or not the next completion, but I got the achievement I was looking for RTDL. Was feeling really good about myself. And then I went and did something else, and it said, "Oh, you need to be on Xbox Live." And I was like, "Oh poopies!" So I threw an easy like 1.6 ratio down the drain. I had to waste a reroll on that. It was a whole thing. I even forget what did I get for that? What was the replacement? Whatever it was actually pretty easy and fun. I got knocked out in no time. But still, I just felt really bad about wasting a reroll on that. I also played Mabel and the Wood. I think I mentioned that briefly before, that it was a Metroidvania I was looking forward to. Well, I'm kind of...
Have your opinions changed?
My opinions have changed a little bit. I'm not so hyped.
Would you have not considered
Would
it?
I? Tree.
Wood.
I can't think of a word. I can't think of a tree. I can't think of a tree pun. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's not as good as I was hoping. It feels very much like that PC type of game, or something that was, on Steam, or it started off as a Flash thing and they kind of ported it over. It's got some interesting ideas, but it needs a lot more polish. So I would stay away from that if you're looking for a polished Metroidvania.
So you're saying it's only okay?
Yes. It's only okay. Dogwood.
Oh, boy.
Palm. Spruce.
Good one, Elm. Wait a minute.
Also, very briefly,
That's our name
today
together.
I was hoping to get some gamerscore, which I'll talk about for a reason later in the show. And I was like, you know what? It's time. So I downloaded Age of Empires, the new version. And I fired it up. I logged in, connected it to my profile, and just watched 44 achievements just pop. They just marched by, and it was glorious. And
man.
It was on my phone. It was on my computer. It was on the TV out in the living room. And my daughter was like, "Why are you getting so many achievements?" And I was like, "Yes, you get it. Like, you know what they are." She knows exactly what they are.
Oh, man.
And the last thing I want to talk about, I know I'm taking a long time, is
you're
Ori.
fine.
Yeah, you're pTartTing?
Ori was amazing on the Switch. I think we might have talked about it.
Switching it up.
But it is so cool. I haven't put that much more time into it, but yeah, go ahead.
But just as a little bit more of a point of detail, like when you say that it's amazing on the Switch, is it that ability to replay it again for achievements? Yeah. Is it like sort of just like, fitting into your favorite pair of slippers again or whatever? Or does it actually look or perform differently on the Switch?
So, yes, it's being able to get achievements again for really easy things or things I discovered, playing the first time, just getting to, re-experience, unlocking those achievements and just kind of like diving back into it. That, of course, yes, love it for that reason. But also, it looks really good on the Switch handheld. Mm-hmm. And I think someone was saying that this is at 60 frames per second, whereas the one on the Xbox is only 30 or something like that. I can't back that up, but maybe, because it does look really good and really smooth and really crisp on that tiny screen. When you plug it into the TV, maybe it's because I was really close to the screen as I was, because I was in there fidgeting with the Switch and all that. It looked a little kind of chunky, really close up. Now, if I was sitting back on the couch, maybe it would look different. But really, I've been playing that kind of at my desk with the Switch kind of propped up, and I'm using my Switch Pro controller.
Yeah, your desk.
So
not at all the bathroom.
Actually, I have been playing in the bathroom because it's really hard to hold that on your lap with
Really?
your Pro controller. The regular Switch buttons just don't work.
Oh,
I've
right.
been
I
playing
guess
my
that's true.
Switch
You don't
while I
want
was
to,
on vacation, and my hands were cramping up. They were going numb from playing it, so I just can't. I just can't play that little Switch anymore.
But the Joy-Cons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just need.
the Joy-Cons are terrible.
Because that's the nice thing about the Switch. You just lay in bed with it. But I guess that...
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be
Yeah,
tough.
I haven't actually played the Switch in like full Switch mode. I've only played with like one Joy-Con, over on its side, so you would use it as if you were using a regular controller, and it is the worst controller I have
they're horrible.
ever
Well, that's
played a
bad,
game with.
yes,
It's terrible.
Yep.
Which is, of course, why they market a different controller, because they know the controller is terrible. It's not like they couldn't build a better design. I'm sure they absolutely could have, but this has been Nintendo's racket forever. And I know, like, I've heard, but I have absolutely nothing to back this up in terms of any evidence, but I've heard that the ideal screen to play a video game on is like 19-inch screen because of refresh rates and stuff like that. So I'm guessing some of that must come into the visuals too. It's just the way that the images display on a smaller screen space, or just that refresh rate is higher. But I have no idea if that's actually the case. It's just something that, I don't know, I'm going to blame Ben Beast Middle.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like a Smitty comment. But.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it looks really good on that little screen. And the only thing Ori is such a tiny figure that even on that little screen, you kind of get lost in the screen because it's so tiny. But everything with the parallax scrolling of all the different backgrounds and all that it just looks so good on that little screen. But yeah, you can sometimes lose yourself in the details with such a small view space.
But you got that feeling again watching the prologue part, right?
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah,
it all comes right back.
I got it, and I was just like, "Oh, I need to play." And then and then I stopped. I saw the achievement pop. I got the little future dopamine hit. I was like, "Oh, when I connect that for real, that's going to be so nice."
Now you
yeah.
tested popping achievements offline with your Switch?
Yeah. So I went ahead and
there?
I did that. So what happened with Ori, and I guess it's just going to be Ori and Minecraft. I don't think anything else is actually going to get achievements on the Switch.
I mean, Cuphead...
It was supposed to.
At least was supposed
Never
to.
did.
I don't think it's happened. And as an aside, Microsoft has already said that that's not their intention to put first-party products on other consoles in any form with achievements.
Yeah, so this is probably going to be it. But
until they did.
In my experience, what I ran some tests with Ori, and what happens is if you're not connected to Wi-Fi, so let's say you're, I don't know, in the subway, on the bus, whatever, somewhere where you're not connected to the internet, you are unlocking achievements and the game is keeping track of that. When you first get back online and you launch the game, so nothing's going to pop if you just get your Switch back on Wi-Fi unless you are in Ori under a saved game associated with your profile. And even then, they're not going to pop right away. I just let it sit there, and a couple minutes later, things started popping. I started getting toasts on my PC. I think if you popped an achievement, maybe it would be a little faster, but if you just let it sit there. So one thing you could do is bank some gamerscore without, connecting to the internet offline on Ori. And then when you really want that hit, you can just flood in, 1,000, depending on how good you are. You can get all that gamerscore at one time just by reconnecting. And it will be time-stamped to when your Switch is online. So it will not be when you actually earned it. It'll be when you actually connected back and the achievement was pushed.
All right.
Did you get the toast on your TV?
Yes.
As well, if you had the
so
Xbox
those
One on?
toasts popped up over there when I was reconnected. I don't think it popped while I was playing. I didn't really hear them in the other room, but I'm not really sure why. I think I might not have been logged in with the right profile, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I just realized something, guys.
You're not recording?
That would never happen. In my limited research, I realized that both of you had a mutual achievement on RTDL last month.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the hot air achievement in Sunset Overdrive.
Oh, you had that one too?
We both, I don't know
if you realized that you both had that one.
When yours scanned on...
I thought you had it a month earlier, is what I thought. I didn't realize it was the same month. I just did it
earlier in the month. But yeah, you got to do that lovely OD grind where you had to go back and forth and just kill all the robots.
I actually already had that much OD sitting around because I guess I wasn't buying weapons. I was pretty close. I could buy 3 maps right away, and then I had to progress in the story enough to get the 4th.
Yeah, my previous month or 2 months previous, I had the achievement for getting 20 weapons to level 5, I think. So I needed to use my OD to buy weapons. So that's why I was out of them when it came through this one. And Sunset Overdrive is... I guess it's the case for most games, but it definitely, you can use an online map, but it's just not the same as using the one that's built into the game. There's actually one available for you, and you just have a much better sense of where things are, and okay, I'm standing right under it, and the game's very vertical, so you need to know that above you might be an option. So I had started trying to use an online map, but that just, 2 months before I had the weapons and the month before I had the smartphones, I started using an online map for the smartphones, and it was just no good because I just couldn't tell because of, again, the height of the map. Like, did I get that cell phone? Did I miss it? I'm not sure. Buying in-game maps is the way to go. And then everything gets checked off automatically. It's great. Sunset Overdrive is such a great game. It really is. It's one of those early Xbox exclusive games that kind of got swept under the rug, like Rise, that were I feel kind of unfairly dismissed because they were Microsoft exclusives, unfortunately.
Yeah, I actually had that achievement for RTDL a few months back as well. So, gotta love that clumpiness. But I would agree that the in-game maps were the way to go, and I only had trouble getting 1 or 2 of them.
There were 2.
I believe Koosh said the same.
Yeah, there were 2 that were really troublesome for me.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you offhand what they were, but...
For me, there was...
You have to...
For me, there was this one building that was like a big silo... I think it was like in the northern part of the map. And it was like really high up, and there's like no clear way to get up that building. And instead, you just kind of had to run circles around the outside of the building, doing wall run, jump, wall run, jump, wall run,
climb.
All the way around. And so that's how I got that one. And then the other one was between a couple different buildings, and you basically had to get a good bounce off of a tree that wasn't on the highest level of the building. So it was kind of like, I don't know if that's right, but it was on the tier just below the highest point on the building. And that's how you get it. And one of the solutions said, oh, here's a video that helped me. And that was the video that ended up helping me.
See, I know the ones that you're talking about, and I didn't have trouble with those. The one I had the hardest time just finding it. It wasn't actually grabbing the balloon. Was one that was like, it's in an area where there's crossing highways or like parking garages. So there's several levels, but it's kind of open. And there's almost like a tree house type shelter in the middle. And it's just in that shelter. And the fizzy balloons above everything else are usually floating above. They're usually easy to find because you're looking up. But this one was like at eye level, and I just didn't think to look there. So that was one that gave me the most trouble. But it wasn't hard to come by. I don't know if because unfortunately Sunset Overdrive is one of those games where in a pre-achievement world, I probably would have just played and really focused on it for a while until I was done with it. Because I've been playing it piecemeal for, 5 years now? 6? There are sort of finer points of the game that I really don't get because I'm not playing it that way. And you get all of these bonuses to your bounce, to your ability to kill certain types of enemies, to your ammo and certain weapons. And mixing and matching that equipment makes the game easier for you, but I don't sit down with the game enough to really know how to finesse that. So I think some of the stuff we're talking about would be easier for us if we were actually like playing the game in its intention and not, you've got to collect 150 achievements or 150 of these things before the end of the month. Just kind of fake it until you make it.
Well, thanks for bringing up what I was going to save to talk about later, Michelle. Gosh. But I guess we'll talk about it now. my next question was gonna be, have any of the three of us who enjoyed this game beaten it? Not even completed it, but beaten the story.
I have not. Yeah.
The answer is no, correct?
Don't think so.
Right.
That's also part of the problem, though, is like,
No.
because I have played the campaign in fits and starts over years, I know that I got up to kind of the fake ending in the game. Sorry for the spoiler, but there's a part where it looks like you're going through the end part of the game and it goes, nope, you're not done. There's still some more stuff to do. But I honestly don't recall if I did the some more
Michelle.
stuff. Don't know.
Are you talking about the where you kind of turn around?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got to that part as well, because that's how far you needed to progress to get the unlock for the fourth map.
Okay. I probably needed to do that for the same reason. I probably needed that fourth map for something. And so that's how I went about it.
I don't remember that. And I got all the maps.
Well, maybe you just got it right before, but yeah.
Were you playing with the sound off?
Well, I was... that game is hilarious.
Just looking at the achievement list real quick, according to what I see here, I have one story-based achievement that I still have not unlocked. So I have not finished the game, but I'm guessing it's the next mission or two.
Okay, well, I was going to talk about the fact that I finally put some time into Red Dead Redemption.
Ooh.
And this is what happens with the random to-do list. I don't want to put long campaigns on there, so I curate them out, but then I never get to play them. So then I put them back on, and then they show up, and then I get to play them. So I actually had two achievements on my list. One was called Fighting Around the World, to go to 7 different saloons and knock out an NPC. To do that, you had to progress a certain amount in the game. And according to the TA walkthrough, there are about 55 missions, and you have to get through 41 of them. So I finally played most of the campaign. 8 years later, I started this game in 2011.
And what did you think?
I enjoyed it very much. I did not skip any cutscenes or anything. Even on the rides to towns, the conversations that John Marston has with whoever he's riding with are very entertaining and informative. And I had a grand old time. So we just got our new RTDL lists, and it's not in there. So what do you think's going to happen? I'm not going to play it anymore. And this is the point I was going to bring up before you mentioned that you were playing Sunset Overdrive and Drips and Drabs, but this is a game I'm pretty sure the three of us, not to speak for you guys, have only played when they come up for RTDL or
Red Dead
UHH.
Redemption?
Right?
Oh, okay.
No,
So I played Red Dead Redemption before I even met you. So don't let me in there. But yeah, Sunset is definitely...
One of those things was smart.
Yeah, I played Red Dead Redemption before I was really into achievements, I believe. So I just I went to the story. So for me, the marker was, have I seen end credits?
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. A lot of people
Red Dead
don't.
Redemption has this amazing sort of, I don't know, quality to it that it's still very much a Rockstar game. In every way, it's a Rockstar game. It has many of the tropes that you associate with Rockstar games. But I don't get that same feeling of being so overwhelmed by my side quest options that I couldn't focus on playing the campaign. And I don't know if that's just because I liked John Marston so much as a character that I really wanted to see his story, where other Rockstar games I wasn't as invested in the story of the main protagonist. But there was just something about Red Dead Redemption that clicked in that way that their other games don't. I don't know if you guys... I know, Elle, you've played some Grand Theft Auto and all that. I don't know, Nate, where you stand on that sort of stuff.
Well, I think Red Dead Redemption was just before GTA 4, right?
I think it's the other way around. Yeah.
2 years later.
GTA 4 was before RDR?
Yeah. GTA 4 was about 2009. RDR was 2009.
That's not how I remember it. I remember RDR first and then GTA 4. And I was going to say that GTA 4 was probably harder to stay focused on because you're switching protagonists. But
May 2010 was RDR.
Yeah, GTA 4 was before that.
I was going to say, I think GTA
that's not how I remember it.
Has more to do. So when you're driving around You get phone calls and you get this and that. In RDR, you might pass by a stranger looking for help, and then that's about the only distraction that I remember. There's definitely, and there's a lot of gambling in the game.
Okay, Grand Theft Auto 4 was April 2008, just to also verify that.
2 years prior.
Actually, I know this is not related at all, but both of these games have to do with my Xbox 360 dying at various points, so they both have a special place in my memory.
Really?
I know. Well,
Thanks,
Grand Theft
Rockstar.
Auto 4 was not in a terrible way. My first Xbox 360 I ever had a graphics card failure, so it wasn't the typical red ring of death issue.
Really?
It was just I turned it on one day and everything looked like the static screen you get on channel 3 of old-timey people TVs. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
And it just looked like that, and I was like, oh, that's probably wrong. So, I called Microsoft and they sent me the coffin, the box that you shipped your Xbox back in. And during that 2-week stretch where my Xbox was away, I'm away at college and just really getting into the whole thing. And I was like, I need something to play when it comes back, because it wasn't like it is today where there's just games everywhere all the time. And I went to GameStop and Grand Theft Auto 4 had just come out. And even though I've never liked a Grand Theft Auto game, I was like, I'm going to get Grand Theft Auto 4. That didn't work out so great. Red Dead Redemption, on the other hand, was the game I was in the middle of playing when my second Xbox 360 got a red ring of death, which just seemed appropriate that Red Dead Redemption led to my red ring of death. So yeah, both of those games have Xbox hardware quality memories for me. It's exciting.
Sorry. Yeah, I actually meant GTA 5, because GTA 4 was Nico. GTA 5 is the one where you're switching between the 3 protagonists.
Okay, I was I played about half, I want to say, of GTA 4. I did play a significant chunk. I didn't give up after the first thing. But I was like, maybe there were multiple protagonists later on. I don't remember that. I just remember Nico being very angry all the time.
Yes, that's why I was thinking that maybe just switching between switching between them is what made it harder for you to stay focused on the main thread. Whereas, RDR, it's just Marston.
I'm in the middle of those, and I'm also in the middle of Bully, which is the same type of thing.
I think too, though, that GTA 4, and this is what you were saying, Al, like, it's not just multiple quest givers, because Red Dead Redemption does have that, but you're also worried about whether or not the guy who makes bombs like you, and the guy who gets you helicopters likes you, and the girl you're trying to date likes you. There's all that other stuff you're trying to juggle while also trying to play the main quest line. So it was to a point, like, I know there's a benefit to that because the world feels like it's living and breathing and not just static play, right? Crackdown 3 is the other extreme example of this, when you take an open world and give it nothing. All right.
Yes.
You can't interact with a thing. Right. Enjoy those agility orbs. Yes, I know we got off topic.
Going back, some quick trivia.
Oh, boy.
Quick trivia.
GTA 3.
Table tennis.
Damn it. Foiled again. Out of the 280,000 or so people who started RDR on TA, how many people beat the story?
I have zero idea. Around half?
Yeah, that seems probably close.
The answer is around half. About 140,000.
But that sounds... no, but I think that's correct for most games.
No, so
that are of that length and of that.
I'm not alone.
Sorry, go ahead.
I feel like if you mainline the story, it's actually not that long.
I don't know. I really think it is. I think the game does have it's hefty. There's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot that if you want to play the game, and the best part about Red Dead Redemption was immersion into that whole environment they were creating. The Wild West, and the way that characters respond to you. If you shoot some guy out there, and like you were saying, Al, you could shoot all the snakes and birds and all that you want, but if you shoot a dog in town, everyone's after you. And all that stuff.
I noticed that.
You don't want to rush the experience of Red Dead Redemption, and it does a good job at that world building and that character. All the characters are interesting. I was watching Elle play it a little bit over the weekend, and I haven't seen the game in a decade, but it didn't take more than 5 minutes of seeing Irish and Reyes and DeSanta, and they all came flooding back because the characters are so vibrant. in their way, even though they're terrible people for the most part, that they do stick with you. There's something in your memory that goes, oh, right, that guy. And that's really an amazing piece of what they were able to accomplish with that game. That GTA never accomplished, with me at least.
One thing you also said to me is that they did a great job with the HDRing it up for Xbox X Enhanced. So if you haven't seen RDR1 in a while, although I never have seen 2, so probably still looks way worse than 2.
Oh my gosh, 2.
Hey, fellow olds. I have a question for you. Do you remember the N64? Easy part.
Back in my day it was the N62, but yeah.
Yes.
Well, do you remember what one of the key graphical...
Almost Medicare age.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Do you remember what one of the key graphical effects they were able to accomplish with the N64 was?
I'm going to say...
if I had to say, I would say like 3.5 or something.
It was water effects.
Oh,
Wave Race 64 was one of the first games that came out on there, and everyone, the water looks so good. You look at Red Dead Redemption and you see these rushing rivers and they just look amazing. And with the up-resing, they look especially amazing. And I'm sure in Red Dead Redemption 2, they look even more so. And I always think about water effects when I'm looking at modern graphics, because I just remember everyone being so keen on that in the N64 days. And the youngs don't even think about that. They're just like, it's water. Come on, dude. But it matters. It matters.
Can I just say that the water in Rhyme is really nice? Go stand on the beach. Go on.
Yeah, you can say it. You haven't mentioned Rhyme yet. Rhyme is kind of like your bingo.
The tide come in. Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay, we'll do. But Elle, are you still talking about games you played this week, or?
I
don't think so.
Is there anything else on the dock?
Well, there's a comma after RDR, so.
Oh. Is this your way of trying to say that you want to talk about Gears Pop?
Not at all. Not at all. Nope.
That's what I thought you were getting at.
My Arena 6 chest was terrible, and I'm done with the game, so...
Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say real quick, since I'm such a noob, that I got some early on achievements the other day that most people already have, which were the fortification, 25 fortification pins, the cavalry one to get a 50 of Carmine shotgun blast kills, and I got 20,000 coins finally, and I got the achievement for the Hammer of Dawn achievement. That's Sarah Silverman or something like that. And I wanted to give a quick thank you to Chris D0811, who did Horde with me and killed General Ram with the Hammer of Dawn, and he got that achievement for me, essentially. So, one thing, I feel like most people have been complaining about it and still playing it. That's what I've noticed. So, but one thing I will say is that it's brought us all together in some weird way. And it's been fun playing Horde with everyone, if nothing else.
When they did the league rewards and I felt kind of shafted, because I was sitting there for like a week not playing the game because I was in silver. I was like, I just want that silver reward, then I'll go hard, right? Like, I just don't want to get knocked out while everyone's trying to go for gold or whatever, and then can't get back into silver. So I'm just going to sit here. So I was like 2015 or something. So I was just inside of silver. And then they do the league rewards and they bump me down to 1999. So I'm just outside of silver. I'm super, super mad about that.
No.
Get the bronze reward instead. I send them a message and I saw some, I guess they replied on Twitter and said, oh, you need to do a ticket or something. So, okay. So I went through the process of submitting a ticket. That's a pain in the butt, number one, because it doesn't bring over any of your information. So you have to type in the version, you have to type in your OS, whatever. So I do that. And then I get a reply back from them that says, oh, we see just a few, it seems like a couple people are having, I'm like, not a couple people, dude. I'm like, I've got it. In my clan of 50 people, it's like, everyone is complaining about this. So don't you tell me
51 of them.
There's some. No. There's a significant percentage of people that you screwed over. So, yeah. But so I'm upset with it. And I'm not playing it that much because I'm kind of used to my week or two off. And I need to get back into it if I don't want this to be a forever grind.
Yeah, I was never as effective. Like I was listening to Sarah talk last week about how she's been playing the game, where she'll derank until lunchtime, then play for her 4 wins, and then derank till dinner time and play for her 4 wins, and then derank and reset. And I keep telling myself like I have to set timers so I do the same thing because I've never been effective with that. And for the last 2 weeks, I've basically been at 1600 with no going up, no going down, just lots of draws, lots of losses, and then a quick win. I'm just close enough to a couple things that I want to keep playing to get those couple things. But man, some of those endgame grinds, I just don't know. I just don't know. And especially, I think for a lot of us, this is the reason we're playing this game is because we can play it at our desks at work. We could play it, on the train or wherever. If Project xCloud does what Project xCloud says Project xCloud is going to do, I don't need Gears Pop to fill that void in my life. It will get dropped very quickly. So we'll see what winds up happening with all that. But yeah, that's I have no more to say about Gears Pop.
All right. What about the prequels, Gears Snack and Gears Crackle?
So I'm going to talk about the games I played this week. I have a very brief story because I knew by the time it got to me, it would already be, a half hour, 45 minutes into the episode, and we have other stuff we need to talk about. So I just wanted to say Timespinner real quick because I knew you two would appreciate it. So for those of you who have made it a half hour in but have not listened much to the show or are fairly new to the show, RTDL, Random To-Do List, which we will talk about more later, is a monthly competition where you get 25 random achievements, very briefly. One of the achievements I got last month was in Timespinner, a game that I added to my collection but had not yet started. And Elle and everyone has been going on about this game forever. I got a story-related achievement to defeat a particular enemy. That wasn't the last achievement I earned in Random To-Do List. I had re-rolled a couple. They were easier, or not easier, but quicker than what I had re-rolled out of. So I was able to finish my list with, 7 or 8 days to go. So I got to play what I wanted. And I played a lot of Timespinner. And it was excellent. So really enjoyed that. I had no problem with saves across my Surface and my Xbox. No scary messages with which one's your cloud save. You're going to lose everything you've ever done. Goodbye. It was awesome. So really enjoyed it. As mentioned already by everyone, if you had any fondness for Symphony of the Night, you really have to play Timespinner. Aside from that, the only other gaming story I wanted to tell for this week actually has to do with hardware. So, as we all know, as we're all Xbox One X owners, the Kinect doesn't just hook up to it, right? You need to have that converter cable thing. And the converter cable thing, if you didn't get it when it was free, because the Xbox One S, you wound up having to pay quite a bit of money because they stopped producing them. So I had purchased one of those cables some times ago, and as with many of the peripheral things I own, it lives at Elle's house now, so I haven't been able to use it. A couple weeks ago, I was buying some...
You don't steal your stuff.
You don't steal it. I leave it there. That's on me. So, anyway... I was on Amazon.
Peripheral.
Oh, man. I can't wait for Fug to tell me again how I'm pronouncing that wrong. But,
Well, he's old, and we don't allow old people on the show, so go ahead.
Never. Anyway, I was on Amazon buying some other stuff, because, that's what I do when I'm not playing Gears Pop at work. And I saw a relatively cheap cable, $20 or $25, one of the knockoff ones. I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen my Kinect actually function in a while, and it's time. I like the technology. I've always liked the technology, as imperfect as it is. Let me hook it back up. So I got the cable, hooked it back up, and I honestly got a little emotional seeing the lights come back on, being like, oh man, my Kinect works. So that was my other big thing, is I hooked up my Xbox One Kinect again, and I played some Just Dance 2019, and it felt awesome. It just felt great to play and move my body and earn some gamer score. And then a couple days later, I was playing Burnout Paradise, and after you finish a race, it shows you a picture of yourself, and I went, oh, right, that's why I didn't like Kinect. But,
Oh, jeez. Self-defecating.
but all that aside, joking aside, like, it's awesome to have the Kinect hooked up again, and I'm excited to jump back into some games that I have abandoned that are Kinect games. My 360 Kinect has been hooked up the whole time. I just haven't felt like playing it, so... the next time I come on, hopefully I'll be able to tell you about how I punched out Shape Up or something like that. So we'll see how it goes. That was it for me. Whew. Brevity.
Is the soul
All
of...
right, now the show can start.
I know.
Wait.
What's our next topic? Faux panel leader.
Boxers or briefs? What?
This is what happens when you let Sarah edit the document.
What did she...
I think she may have slipped some
Wear
things
underwear in
into
New York.
The,
There's no time
into
for this.
The template.
City that never sleeps. Text guide or video guide? Yeah, Sarah H. Stop using guides and play point and clicks with your freaking brain. Use your brain.
So someone that has both Sherlock Holmes and the Book of Unwritten Tales on my RTDL list.
Oh, use the guide, Michelle.
I think we have a community question.
No, but use your brain
we're gonna answer,
first.
Though. Right?
We're going to try.
We're going to try.
Uh-oh.
All right. So I'm going to read the question, and then Nate, you're going to answer first.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Nate, you go first.
I think
Wait,
Jay
you want
Black...
me to answer before the question comes out? That makes no sense.
Answer now.
Oh.
Jeopardy.
Yes. Okay. Out of all the games you own but haven't played yet, which ones do you really want to play, and why haven't you done so yet?
That's a good question. I think the obvious answer, in terms of the reason, is because of contests. I won't name any specific contests, but there's just a lot of them going on, and most of them are time sensitive. They have a time component to them. So if you are playing a game you want to play, for instance, it's kind of conflicting with or competing against your attention for completing contests on time and not letting, other people in an organization who might be depending upon you to get a certain number of stuff done in a certain time frame. Perhaps, just off the top of my head. What do I want to play? I'm gonna say, what haven't I played? So in terms of haven't even cracked it open, I'm just gonna rattle off 3 or 4, and because I can't really decide because my collection's too freaking huge.
Oh boy.
Air, Memories of Old. It looks perfect for me. A Hat in Time. It's like a 3.
Why?
Well, if you've seen the artwork for Air, it looks like something. It looks a lot like Rhyme. I didn't want to say it looks like Rhyme, but it looks like Rhyme, at least from a glance. A Hat in Time is a platformer. It's kind of like the N64 type era platformer. I know Rocker has talked about it.
What about? Oh, is that based on our community member Hatton?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's completely based on him.
Hatton.
And then, of course, I was just looking through it, and I realized I haven't played Assassin's Creed Origins or Odyssey, nor have I scored an achievement in either of them. And I love the Assassin's Creed games.
Did you hear what the November games would call them?
I'm gonna say Assassin's Creed. I have no idea. I'd have to scroll down to figure that out. But yeah, that's it for me.
Those are good ones.
What about you, Al?
I'm gonna say that I haven't been keeping up well with the WWE games, believe it or not. So I have played them, and gotten some achievements, but I haven't touched the story mode or the career mode in 2019. And look at that, it's October. The new one comes out this month. So as luck would have it, on my new RTDL, I actually got an achievement to start that up. But this is a problem. It should not take RTDL to get me to start up career mode on one of my favorite franchises. So I'm going to go with WWE 2K19. And I'll say, just for the heck of it, Final Fantasy 15. Because I definitely had fun with that comrade stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to play the campaign now for sure. No.
Isn't that how it goes?
Or you're going to play the standalone, right? You're going to play the standalone comrades, right?
Yeah.
No.
Nope, never touched that either, even though I know if you turn that on, you get achievements pop right away. Nope, still never did that.
What about part 2? Why haven't you played your Sweaty Man games?
You just wanted to say Sweaty Man games.
The reason I haven't is a little stupid OCD-ness. I never finished 16, which was a really long grind, so I kept telling myself I want to finish that one first and then go in order and finish them all.
You want to grind
order.
out the Sweaty Man games
but I should
in
at least
order. Okay.
Yes,
Just
that's
checking.
correct. What are you trying to say?
Nothing.
We've already established that I like Sweaty Men. It's nothing new.
It's just that you want to grind them. That's okay.
We don't beat dead horses on the show.
Okay.
Speaking of horses, Michelle, what's your answer?
Oh, you might have looked at my sheet, you cheater.
I did not.
So my immediate answers to this question were actually games that I've started both, so that's not really fair. So I have another answer. But Red Dead Redemption 2, especially watching Elle play through some of it this weekend. Once I got over the fact that he's constantly lost and it was getting very frustrating, I was really enjoying watching the game again. And I do have friends that are not Xbox people, I know, who have played Red Dead Redemption and keep asking, but why haven't Red Dead Redemption 2? And why haven't you yet? Well, it's hard to explain. So
Michelle.
Yes.
What street do horses live on?
Oh, God. Why are you distracting me in the middle of answering a question?
Main Street. Go ahead.
All right. Awesome. Anyway, right. So Red Dead Redemption 2 just is something I want to put more time in. I played the first chapter on one of these days where I had nothing else going on, and I was like, now I'm going to sit down and play it. And then Team RTDL happened, and it didn't work out. Another game that I've started that I would love to play more of was a game that was mentioned, but then your question distracted me. So, not Assassin's Creed. I haven't started that. I honestly don't remember. Because I should have written it down.
Those games
because Enslaved Odyssey to the West is another game that I've started, and I hear nothing but amazing things. The Pigsy's Perfect 10 DLC just got relisted, I think. So that's an opportunity to actually, because that's part of the reason why I had said, excused myself for not playing this apparently amazing game. And it's available again, so that's not a reason anymore. But the game I have not started that I don't own it, but I don't own it because it's known to be a very long game, and I just know I don't play games that way, is Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley, to my understanding, if you've ever played a Harvest Moon game, is basically this generation's Harvest Moon. And I loved Harvest Moon on my Super Nintendo and on my Game Boy. They were favorites of mine that I always returned to for the comfort of getting to play them. And Stardew Valley is very, very good and very well regarded, but it's also a 150-hour to 200-hour completion. And I know that my tendency when I'm playing a management game like that is to go, but one more thing, and then it's 4 a.m, and I can't afford too many of those. So if I had to answer the question at its most literal level for a game I have not started, it would be Stardew Valley. That I wish I would settle down and play, but I know that I'm not going to, unfortunately.
Did you ever read or hear of Blood, Sweat, and Pixels?
I've heard the title, but I know nothing about it.
So it's the subtitle is The Triumphant, Turbulent Stories Behind How Video Games Are Made, and that is one of the case studies.
Really?
Yes, it's very interesting to hear about that guy and how he made that game. So I would recommend you check that out if you happen to be near a library sometime.
Every now and again, I happen to wander into one. Then they ask me to leave the kitchen. And, so, awesome. I will check that out. So thank you for the community question. I do think it was Jables, but I'm not 100% sure. But if it wasn't Jables, you can correct us.
Get out of town.
I think it was. It sounds
correct
right.
us next week. All right.
The name's very familiar.
What do you call a well-balanced horse? Stable. All right. Man, shouldn't Google things during the podcast, right?
Well, not those things.
Just leave that to Elroy. I wanted to give an honorable mention to the Batman games that I still have to do. Also, the Arkham games. But I have technically played them. I've started them before, but never got really far into them.
I played.
Oh, these are problems.
Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And then
those ones.
There was the third, right? Arkham
Origins.
Knigget.
What's that?
Knigget.
Arkham Knight, right? And it's interesting because I really enjoyed those first two, but I have no inclination to play the third one, and I don't know if that's the same stuff coming back to the fore.
Wasn't there?
You're skipping over Origins. Is everybody skipping Origins?
Wasn't there a different
clearly
something?
Well, Rocksteady did the core series, Arkham City and Knight.
Oh, they did Knight. Okay.
And then, gosh, I can't remember. I feel so bad for not knowing their name.
The Coalition?
No, I think so. Those other guys. Those other guys
Two-Face
did Origins, and they also did the Metroidvania Blackgate.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
That one's not real.
Okay, so here's the thing. Origins, when it came out, was buggy, right? It was buggy.
Right.
It was
it had
it was
a very
an inferior
poor
product.
launch. That was my understanding about it.
But they supported it. They came back. They fixed it up. It's actually
I remember that.
a good game. Is it the exact same as Arkham? Is it the exact same quality? It's pretty close.
And to give credit where it's due, apparently that's developed by Warner Brothers Games Montreal.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was Montreal something, but I wasn't sure.
All right, well, that was a good question. I enjoyed getting to answer that. But I suppose we should move on.
I saw a meme on Facebook the other day.
Oh, boy. If this is about horses, I'm turning off the recording.
It's somebody named their horse Mayo, so now they could say mayonnaise. Just wanted to figure you'd like that one, Michelle. Because you love mayonnaise so much.
And she turned off her recording.
She broke her Skype.
She's gone. Way to go, Elle.
All right, we could have a guy talk now. Sausage party. Sausage party.
When is the sequel coming out?
I don't know. I'm going to find more horse jokes. I think she must be falling over and laughing.
So, Nate, how many tabs do you have open this week?
Thank you. Thanks for saving me.
Oh, wait. That must be a Belgway. All right, go ahead.
I have 2 tabs open. One for Xbox sales and one for 360 sales.
Oh, well played.
I'm not really going to get anything this week.
What?
I know, right?
Are you sick?
I'm just looking, and there's just nothing new to get. Mm-hmm. So instead, I'll take this time to remind everyone to get Waka's pick, his favoriteest game of ever, Albedo, Eyes from Outer Space. It's got a really extremely
low ratio.
It's got an extremely out there score from him. I won't say positive or negative. It's 279. It's 80% down. I mean, Waka said a lot about this game, so you should probably check it out.
Still waiting on the Game Club edition.
Or you could do that. Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition for the X1 is 50% off. It's $10. That's a great game. Don't really want to say too much more about it. That's kind of all there is to say about the X1 sales, other than Super Lucky's Tale is 50% off. It's for $10, and they still don't have the DLC for sale, which is really, really frustrating because I want that.
We cannot afford a few bucks to support.
I can totally do that, but it's just the principle.
I have a question. Uh-oh. Go ahead.
Well, should I finish 360 or should I answer your question?
Just a real quick question looking at this list. When you see a game called Road Redemption, do you think they're trying to fool stupid people into thinking it's Red Dead Redemption?
No, because I don't think Road Redemption. I think Road Rage or because that's...
It's got my attention. Just looking at the name of it.
I remember when this one was coming out, it reminded me of, I think it was Road Rage, was the motorcycle racing game.
Well, that's because you're knowledgeable. I'm just talking about based on just the title.
Yeah, possibly. I can see them shooting for that angle. And then I probably never mentioned this before, but there's a game called Conan on the 360. It's 85% off. It's $3. It's a hack and slash. It's very similar to like a God of War. And yeah, it's $3. If you haven't gotten it, just get it. It's so good.
But importantly, is it backwards compatible?
It is absolutely not backwards compatible.
Oh,
yeah, that would be the only deterrent, but it's worth it if you still got a 360 plugged in somewhere. It's a fun game, and let's just see who's got the completion here, just for giggles.
Is it going to be
Absolutely not. No. It's Matism,
Sucks.
Smirnov. We got Chewy Onus.
Awful. He punched it a long time ago. I see a lot of people on my list.
You probably got more friends than me. But those are the people I know that have the full completions. And True Marvelous, but we haven't seen him in forever.
And Sangrius. All those million Gamerscore people sometimes talk to us.
Yeah, I'm only at 359, but I'm having a great time. So I obviously have a lot more work to do.
You're 39 on my list out of 67.
Well, it's 359 TA.
Most people have 10.
I recommend it, though.
So...
Anybody else see anything actually worth
20
picking
to
up?
25 hours.
I immediately said no, because I'm going to bring up a point in a moment that will lead us on to other discussion. But on a second look, I did stop quickly on the Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker, which is another one of these FMV-style games, like Late Shift, and I think The Bunker maybe was the same publisher.
Sounds right.
It's Lovecraftian and some kind of mystery. It is, I believe, $7.79 instead of $12.99. It looked interesting. It just that it's pretty well received, and that FMV game type is definitely not something we typically get to engage with. The TA classifies it as a visual novel. Completion takes 8 to 10 hours. But if the story is good in a game like that, that's really what you're buying in for. And my understanding is that it is. So that was the only game on the whole list, because what I noticed from the list is a lot of what's on sale this week is on Game Pass. So I'm not exactly sure what the marketing strategy is for that. I don't know if that's,
stupid people.
People who just refuse Game Pass and so they're going to buy this. Or no people who are worried that a game that they really enjoy might go out of Game Pass, so they want ownership. Or if it's look, you could buy these on sale and the sale prices are great, but if you took 2 of the games you would have spent on in the sale and just bought a month of Game Pass Ultimate, you could play those 2 and many more. But it's hard to look at the sales now, because between sales repeating so much, the absolute glut of games that are out these days, so it's hard to keep them straight, and having access to so many and an increasing number in Game Pass, it's really hard to find any diamonds in these sales. There's just so much access to too many things, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
I agree, especially when they're putting stuff like Crackdown 3 on sale. Pay $1 for Game Pass,
right? Because one of the deals on the Xbox app is to get, what do you get, like 4,000 Microsoft Space Bucks if you spend 20 real world dollars. And it's all, Microsoft stuff. So it's stuff that you already have because you have Game Pass. If you're a Game Pass person, you've already got this stuff. So am I really going to spend, to buy Crackdown? Am I going to spend to buy the other thing? The only one that I was maybe even considering was Forza Horizon, for like the bonus content or whatever, just to get the season pass, just to get those extra DLCs. But that's a $50 investment. So
right.
Yeah.
And a time investment when you're realistically going to play it.
Well, that's true.
Often becomes my question on longer, more AAA development level titles, is they may be amazing and it might be great to have access to them, but am I realistically going to put more than an hour or 2 into it before I'm on to the next thing, or before I decide I just don't have time for it? Realistically, no. And they just announced a whole bunch of new stuff coming to Game Pass. So you got this list of sales, but when you're going to get a whole new set of games for free, including new content that releases into Game Pass, it's hard to spend any more money than you're already spending on your subscription.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting hard. Like, I'm looking at the sales, and maybe it's because I've been looking at the sales for too many years now, but there's a lot less to buy these days.
Sales used to be structured very differently, too. It used to just be those, they phrase them as spotlight sales, where this week it's going to be Square Enix content, and that's all you're going to get. Especially with these ID titles, they tend to go on sale frequently as long as you're not looking to buy one. As soon as you're trying to buy it, it will never go on sale again.
Of course not.
But, they're on sale so frequently, it's just, I don't know the economy of video games at this point. I really don't, with digital marketplaces and the physical marketplace dwindling down and how Steam and Epic storefronts tie into all this. I don't understand it at this point, but I feel like if your game is going on sale every third week for $8, why not just mark it down to $8? Is the whole door in the face strategy of telling someone $10, wait, that's too much, but they'll buy it when it's $8, actually working that effectively? Like, I don't get it. Do you have any thoughts on this sort of thing between either of you?
No.
Do we have any thoughts on...
I don't have thoughts in general.
What is it about the economy of games that they do this sort of sale thing? Like, in most other things, like if you're in a supermarket and you want to buy whatever it is in the supermarket, whatever food item, if you're buying like a box of granola bars, right? If it doesn't sell well, they'll put it on sale. And then if it sells well, eventually the manufacturer is going to say, you know what, if it's selling better at this price point, why don't we just price cut it? We'll call it a permanent price cut. It makes the consumer feel good because it's a lower price, but we never should have been selling it for as much as it was in the first place. And then eventually it just gets clearanced until it's gone. Like, I don't get what the economy is of gaming, that this structure is valid, where it's always a $15 settled price point, but we'll just put it on sale every third week. Like, how does that help the developer? How does that help them sell more copies? Like, why not just reduce the price anyway if it's going to be on sale so frequently? I feel like Albedo comes up at least once a month.
I don't think it's once a month, but it's definitely been before, and it definitely comes around. I don't understand. I don't understand the scheduling for these sales. Like, I get 3 months after release, and then we'll put it on discounts because then you get your initial wave, and that's where you make the majority of your money. And then you make some cleanup money by dropping the price later for people that are just looking for sales or have Game Pass or have all these other things that that makes it so that they don't need to buy the game right away. But like, why is Deep Ones on sale? It's 50% off.
Right.
It's a $5 game. It's on sale. There must be something somewhere that shows that, this is advantageous and that they're actually getting sales because of this.
When people see a sale, I know I will buy something.
But
just
do you
'cause it's on
really
sale
do that
sometimes.
anymore? Right. I feel like that was
Not lately.
something. But
Because of backlog.
Your backlog is never, ever going to go away as long as you're a Game Pass subscriber. It's just never going to happen. You are never going to be caught up. Because even if you had played and completed every game that you started that was in Game Pass, there's going to be another 20 games there that you've never played. So that's not that idea of, well, it's cheap enough, I'll just throw $2 at it. What's the last game you bought that you had zero interest in, but hey, it's $1, right? Like World Enduro Rally was the last one that I could think of that a bunch of people went, well, it's $1. The developer actually responded to some tweets. I'll throw him $1. That doesn't really happen anymore. Where that used to happen. If some Summer of Arcade game was on sale for $2.50, hey, it was a Summer of Arcade game. I'm not really interested in it, but I'm going to snap it up anyway. Absolutely.
There were less games then.
But it's true.
That's what I think. But Toe Jam and Earl just got a price reduction to $14.99.
It's not going to get me to play that though.
You don't see it that well.
Right.
You don't see them do that often though. The permanent price reduction.
There was.
So now that it's permanently $14.99, you know what you do?
Right.
You wait for it to be 50% off.
Although it's interesting you mentioned that, because there was a time before ID at Xbox, but in late stage Xbox Live Arcade, where they did do permanent price reductions. I mean, this was long enough ago that the prices were given in Microsoft points. But I remember a game, I think like Adventures of Shuggy released at 800 Microsoft points, but was permanently reduced to 400. I think that happened to Rascals too. Like once a week or once every other week, there was a permanent price reduction that scanned into, I don't know if Microsoft ever officially announced them, but they would scan into sites like Store Parser. And maybe that happens and we just don't see it because there are so many games now. That's also obviously a possibility. But I imagine with our group, somebody would catch that. But if anybody knows more, if anyone in Discord, if you have a better sense of this, I would love to know more because I don't understand it, but I find it fascinating.
It is fascinating. It's a breaking news story from Corey. Wanted to let everyone know that where the beast make honey is getting a new achievement. You have to
be joking.
It's one new achievement?
Just a new achievement? Really?
Well, we'll see what they do.
The problem is that you're the one that broke this news story, so I have no idea if this is you attempting to work out another horse joke somewhere.
No, it's actually true.
Actually being legit.
This is actually true. I did see this.
Wait. Let's see if I can do this.
Where the horses eat hay expansion of this game. Wow. All right, well.
Oh, wait, I found one. What do you get if you cross a horse with a bee? Neigh buzz. Wow, that's terrible. That one I don't even like.
All right.
Neighbors. All right, cool.
Well,
hello, neighbors.
I think we spent a lot of time talking about Game Pass, and if Elle was a actual host who paid attention to what was going on instead of just figuring out how to derail me, he might have said, "Hey, Nate, there are new Game Pass games."
Hey, Nate,
would you like to read the list of new Game Pass games for us?
Sure, Palomino of mine.
Oh man, you're in on it too.
Dishonored 2 is coming on the 3rd. World War Z, which I foolishly bought for possibly full price, is on 1010. Ukulele, also big Kickstarter for full price on 1010. Fallout New Vegas, definitely did not buy that for full price on the 17th. Along with that, Felix the Reaper, which is a day one release. It's an ID at Xbox game. I'm excited about this. I don't know if you can tell. Panzer Dragoon Orta is an Xbox OG title, so no achievements. So why are you downloading that on the 17th? The Outer Worlds on the 25th, which is also a day one release to Game Pass, and After Party, which is by the same developer that did OXENFREE. We've mentioned that I think 300 times, also on the 29th. But that game looks exciting / interesting as well. I'll probably play it for 5 minutes and then wish I had continued.
Yeah. I'm thinking that gets added to the collection with prayers for it being pulled by the RTDL gods in November. And then when it doesn't, I'll forget that I have access to it.
But then the downside to Game Pass, you get a ton of these games and you just have so much to play, but then they go away. And going away this month, we have Right Angle Bracket Observer. We have Dead Island Riptide DE Definitive Edition, and we have Resident Evil 5, and then we have Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption. Do any of these tempt you to kind of put some other stuff aside, make some time for any of these?
Well, I don't really know anything about Observer.
Michelle, we're starting Dead Island.
I will never willingly play a Dead Island game again. I own Resident Evil 5 already, so I'm not worried about that. And I see Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption has a note on the rundown document that says buggy, so that terrifies me. Do you know anything about this buggy notification?
It comes... you play in a little car.
It is a Souls-like, and it's not as in-depth as a Souls game, so there's really... the interstitial stuff between the boss fights doesn't really exist. You basically just run to a boss fight. You may have 2 or 3 encounters on your way there, but nothing serious. And I think those are mostly just to help you remember how to play the game. And so it really is just boss fights. And apparently it is a little bit buggy in terms of some of the boss encounters maybe don't behave the way they should. It's not a bad game. I enjoyed it, but I always knew in the back of my head that I wasn't going to complete it before it got delisted, and now, I'm sorry, not delisted, before it left Game Pass, and now it's actually coming around. And I'm thinking I will probably go back and try to get some of those things that I know aren't too difficult. Some of the boss encounters aren't that bad. I think I can get them without too much trouble. I think Smitty said he was going to maybe go back for some stuff. And Observer was... this is kind of it's a very story-based game. Apparently the achievements are missable if you're not looking for collectibles. And it looks like it may take 2 run-throughs. You can get it in one if you're at the very end of your run-through, if it doesn't bug out and you can get both endings, then you would have to play through a second time. But you only have to get the collectibles on one of your runs. It didn't say that they persist to your second run, so I think you have to do it all in one run. So the way I was going to play this was guideless, and then second run was going to be the collectible run. The guide on the first page actually says, do it the other way. Play it with the guide, get the collectibles, and the second run. So first run, I think, was like 10 to 12 hours. They were saying second run would be 2 to 3.
Okay.
So I don't really want to not enjoy this game by following a guide, step by step. Interesting. The lead character in this is Wrecker Hauer, who did. So he died recently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Huh. He did.
He did?
Yeah. So, I mean.
Oh, man.
Will it bother you, though, if it goes out of Game Pass and you haven't gotten the completion? Like, because you could still keep playing it the way that you're playing it, and if you don't get to the second playthrough, you don't, as long as you get through and experience the game. And I think that, like, speaking personally, like, that's the biggest part of my mentality toward gaming that I actively am trying to break at this point, is I'm not getting 100% completion anyway. If you love a game, you can go back and play it. You can buy it when it is on very deep discount. But does it bother you to have an approach where maybe you don't get the completion, you don't finish it, but you get to actually just enjoy the story before it goes out of Game Pass?
Not really. Like, I'm not a completionist, so it doesn't really bother me too much. Like, I just ran into this issue with, what is that stupid anime thing that just came out? Jump Force.
Jump Force.
Yeah, so Jump Force just came. It's a fighting game, so I probably don't have the skill or the time to develop the skill to, beat it before it leaves. And I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I can get 1,000 space points by downloading it and getting 2 achievements, but now I've got this thing on my tag. Am I really going to play much more than just 2 achievements? And that kind of has prevented me from downloading it. So to a degree, sure, yeah. It's I'm not going to play these things to completion. I'm not going to be too bugged, but it's also to the point where I was just like, okay, if I'm only going to get 2 or 3, do I even want to start it?
Right.
Yeah. But something like Observer, where I think I'm going to get pulled into the story. I mean, I probably wouldn't be too upset if I didn't get everything, but. I mean, if the second run through is only 2 to 3 hours. I don't know.
Do they have dates that these are actually being removed on? I know they've been announced for removal, but is this end of the month? Is this mid-month? Or is it sort of like in the ether of somewhere?
Yeah, I did not see specific dates for when these things are getting removed.
Okay, I hadn't either.
Yeah. And apparently Observer is doable if you focus on it. You can probably get it done in, depending on how much free time you have, 3 nights, something like that, 3 or 4 nights.
Okay. Al, are you interested in any of the stuff that's coming to Game Pass?
What's coming to Game Pass? No. You know what? World War Z, I would play. I like the Left 4 Dead games. And like you said just a minute ago, if we don't get the completion, that's fine. Okay. I know there's grindy stuff. Who cares?
My comment there is it's fairly grindy if you want to get everything.
Trying to get away from that too.
I'm hoping with After Party, because we have such a good group of people in Discord who listen and chat about what they're playing, and there's been such good feedback with the OXENFREE Game Club, that I'm hoping that sort of groundswell of excitement will lead to a whole bunch of us playing it at the same time, so we can all kind of talk about those experiences jointly. I find them and I think this is the case for most of us, we're very community motivated, so, it's a little bit like, if I see you doing it, I'm going to want to as well. I'm going to want to be a part of that discussion. With something like Red Dead Redemption, when it's new, it's a 50-something hour game. We're going to be playing at different rates. Something like After Party, if it plays like OXENFREE, in terms of there being kind of clear cutoffs, like, did you see when this happened and that kind of thing, I think would just be a really fun game to be in on the ground level with. Sort of like when the Walking Dead games were coming out, and you knew you could play an episode in 2 hours, so just play that episode at release, and then you could talk to people about it as it's happening. So I'm kind of hoping that will organically happen with AfterPass, if not with a little bit of After Party, pardon me, if not with a little bit of encouragement. So I'm looking forward to that. I really do hope that we have that sort of thing going on for that game.
Kronos, make it happen.
We also have the 2 games with gold available as of the day of recording, October 1st. Please, everyone, download Bolt and get an achievement to pop my TA ratio on that one. Thank you. And on the Xbox One side, we have Tembo the Badass Elephant.
Yay.
You played that, Nate?
Yeah, I got the completion. I, of course, paid full price because it's a platformer. I think it's from Sega. So it was worth it just to... Yeah, you boot it up and you get that sound. And I was just like, it took me back. I was just like, oh yeah.
God, really?
I am pretty
booting
sure
it up right now
that you get the Sega and like, I got the goose pimples when that happened. So
there's something about Tembo and like Hell Yeah, which I know are very different games, The Wrath of the Dead Rabbit, but there's something about them that strikes some sort of similarity in my brain. And maybe it's just like animal protagonists being like lethal in their way, but still looking cutesy. I mean, I don't know much about Tembo, but there's something about the 2 of them that seems to get lumped together in my brain.
Oh.
I think Hell Yeah was also published by Sega.
I think that's true.
All right, well, Bolt and Tembo. So those are games of gold that are available currently.
The doggy and the elephant.
Oh, right. We had an animal theme anyway.
I didn't know what you're talking about. Not looking up any more jokes.
All right, I'm going to keep moving the panel along. So now that we've talked about all the games that we probably won't play because we don't have time, let's talk about the reasons why we're not playing those games, and that would be all the many contests that we are involved in at any time. I see first up here on the docket is Just Punch It. So for those of you who don't know, Just Punch It is a program run by the most wonderful Wookiee, Chewie on Ice. Otherwise known as, what was it, Chewie Onus?
I think it's
Chewie
Onus. Yep.
Okay.
ISIS?
In Just Punch It, you are being challenged to find games on your tag that you have 3 or less achievements left in, where your last achievement unlocked was over a year ago. Thankfully, Chewie is a very diligent Wookiee, and he will do most of this work for you. But if you are completing a game that you know fits those parameters, let Chewie know so he can put you on his awesome Google spreadsheet and give you credit for the games that you've completed. Have you guys made any new progress with the Just Punch It challenge?
I have not. I have not really been targeting this yet.
Yet? Sounds like you have a plan.
I do have a plan. I think I have a couple games. I think we wanted to. I'm not sure if we were going to talk about that later or not, but I have some plans for the rest of the year, and some of them might involve some games that fit this requirement.
Okay.
It's a no from me.
Like, you have no games that meet the requirement, or you're just completely not involved with this particular competition?
Oh, I'm sure I have games that fit this, but you know the contest I pay attention to.
The terrible pun awards. I was going to go for Shape Up, but I have 4 achievements left, so unfortunately it will not qualify. But I do have still other games that I will eventually, hopefully, get through.
Oh, that's easy. Just do one of them and then go for it next year.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
So easy.
All right, cool.
Easy.
I'll keep that in mind. All right, so Just Punch It again. Thank you to Chewie for running that and for giving people another way to go about getting stuff done in their game collections. Moving on from Just Punch It, we have the contest we have been talking about a lot, and we have a lot to say about it, so buckle up. The Random To-Do List is a challenge that is being run by our mates over at the Real Gamerscore podcast. So before I move forward, as always, thank you so much to them for running it and for allowing us to do our thing with it, making sure that we are able to have a room in our Discord that pops up all the achievements is certainly something we could not do with their support. And thank you to Tarragon for founding it, and to Chin for doing all the work that he does, because Chin had a lot to do with the team side.
Especially
the
last
3 months.
All the rerolls.
4 months. Mm-hmm.
Chin supposedly is working a lot more, so he's been balancing that with keeping up with the rerolls and everything, so thank you, Chin Doctor. And
yeah, so
yeah,
just we again very much appreciate that we have this kind of access, and we had a wonderful time with the team competition, which just wrapped up. Elle, I know you were reaching out to Chin about possibly getting some stats. Were you able to get them?
Kind of.
All right, what did you learn?
I learned that a lot of people got full combos. Aw, Foof, I miss you, babe. Sexy little Foof. Don't tell Brooke I've been looking at your High Road, Vatu, Elroy OMJ, Mattism, Daniel, JJ Abrams, 14, Rucker Dude, What the Fug, NBA Kirkland, Death Dealers, and Kronos. I'm pretty sure Freshy Fresh got it too, my boy Freshy.
Right there at the buzzer.
So pay attention there, Doc people. I want to give a special shout out to my team, Big L's, Sandwiches and Tacos, Michelle and Death Dealers, and Freshy and Enigma Gamer 77, and Stan, followed by pTart. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you guys in our team room. I hope we still continue to chat. Michelle, did you get all the full combos?
Yes, with the asterisk, of course. I did use some rerolls, but I did get all the full combos. I think back to the test month too, so I am so excited to be able to just
You've been my number one pick.
play games again. It's but it was fun, and I think this past month, because the pressure of the competition was a little different, I had enough time. I rerolled 2 Final Fantasy VII achievements, and I definitely had the time to do them. But I'm glad as it turned out to have rerolled them and gotten some stuff that took me a little less time. I played a lot of Sacred 3, which was fun, but more importantly than that, it was fun to engage with our team, and it was fun to see the other teams do stuff, even though the Awesome Possums had the worst preload in history in the first month. It was still fun to know that they must have gotten together and thought that through, and they kind of tried to make it happen this month, but they either ran out of time or overestimated or underestimated how much they could actually do in the time that was left. But the Possums did great. Mario Party did great insofar as unlocks. And, perfect. So you can take that over.
Well, I have it. I have it for the 3rd month anyway. I don't have the combined scores. Actually, hopefully we can get that
real quick before you go into that. Koosh, did you have any shout-outs you want to make to your teammates?
Yeah. Good job, team.
What team were you on?
Okay, excellent.
I was on Mario Party, and I will pull that up right now.
Who's the captain?
No, Mario Party was...
Mario Party was first place in points.
And that's, we were, the whole time we were playing it, our side discussion was always about how points were what really mattered. And from day one, we were like...
Of course.
Well, no, this wasn't because of, we were only leading in that, but when we were considering what we wanted to value, we said points. Just from day one, we thought this should have been about points. Because the original RTDL, if you look at the scores, it's based off of TA. It's not based off of how many unlocks you got. Now, they're kind of correlated, but it was always score. So we kind of valued that.
You're not wrong. The only problem is
no one else sees it that way.
The point values. No, it's that the max on the lowest team was 32,000 and the max on the highest team was 36,000. So with unlocks, everyone definitely gets the same amount of achievements to go for.
Well,
it's not always the same amount of points.
That's debatable, the only right. Is it more fair to do unlocks? Is it?
You're not
or is
wrong
it better to
necessarily.
Do score? We can go in a whole big thing about that, but my team.
And that's why we have hashtag why not both.
My team, thank you guys for carrying me on the unlocks because I definitely was holding everybody back. Was Skeptical Mario, Jimbot UK, Shabibble Bobble Bobble Dobble, Ben L72. We had Chin Doctor, and Chin Doctor stepped out at the end, and Daniel JJ14 stepped in and finished the last month in Chin's place. He was the designated hitman. And then, of course, it was me who was bringing up the lower score and the lower unlocks. But we had a good time, and it was a lot of good chats with those guys, just kind of strategizing and going over what we were going to get and how to get it and unlock strategy, and it was a good time. So I really thought that was great. Yeah, a good bunch of guys. So if and when we do it, any of those guys, I highly recommend.
Awesome. Now, Al, you did have some stats from the last month you were saying?
Oh, yes, I have the stats in the last month. Mario Party was in first place in score, followed by Awesome Possums, and Big L Sandwiches and Tacos in third, Freem's Dream Team in fourth, and Jesterado in fifth. In unlocks, it was basically the same, except Awesome Possums were first, and Mario Party was second. It was 146 and 142. We were third with 136. Freem's Dream Team had 125, and Jesterado had 91. So they tapped out early, much like Randy Couture. And, yeah.
Fresh unlocked an achievement in the very dying moments of the month, but we were behind on ratio, or on the TA points, right? Like, that had to have been very close, that final number, right? Between...
Oh, actually, yes, third and fourth.
Like, what was the difference between third and fourth?
About 103 or 4.
Yeah, so it was pretty down to the wire there. And that was fun to watch. Like, even though it was pretty clear that it was going to be between Possums and Mario Party at the top, it was...
Yes, he couldn't get something to pop from Victorious Time to Shine, and I set him straight and told him what to do. Because, he's an Eagles fan, so he needs all the help he can get in life. So, yeah, I helped him out. But no, I love him and I love everyone. And I can't wait to do teams again, but yes, I'm glad for the break as well.
Right, so as another point of discussion, the team competition is wrapped up. We are discussing what's going to happen with the future of that. I feel like the general consensus is we will run something like the team competition again, but it's going to need tweaking, as all these contests do. So I would like to hopefully get another room opened up in the Discord, so that would be just for chatting about the team competition. So not about unlocks or any stuff. That would be separate from the room that has that feed, but just to talk about feedback on the team competition, what you liked, what you didn't. What can we do to make it more engaging for people who play more casually? What can we do to encourage people to not curate quite so much? Because that's a whole other discussion here, is teams did do very well, but there were very few people. I want to say, Koosh, you had one of the highest actual achievement pools in there.
Yeah, starting out, I definitely did. And then I curated a lot for me. So I think the first 2 months, I was just like, yeah, just let it ride. And then I was just like, okay, I'm holding my team back, so I'm going to curate. So I think the last 2 months I curated down to, I want to say like a quarter of my collection or something like that. And I was still at like, I don't know, 5,000 or something silly.
Which is still a lot more than other people who, did quite well. I know myself, I curate a lot. I probably have about, 20% of my available pool actually in my RTDL pool. So coming up with ways to encourage people to increase their pool size or to have more of their maximum available number of achievements available. So I'd really love to get input, not just from captains and the captains, to shout them out again: El, Mario, Freem, Elroy, and Jester. All definitely contributed to things and helped with tweaking of things, any issues that had to do with rerolls and whatnot. They were super active and all that. I'd love to do another draft again, because just getting everyone together and doing that part of things was a lot of fun. So we're going to continue doing this, but I definitely want feedback. So keep an eye on Discord. Hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, there already will be a Discord. But if you haven't been in Discord recently and you want to be a part of that discussion, take a look for that room and hop in there, because I definitely want to hear what everyone has to say, good, bad, or in between, about the team version of RTDL. But for now, just enjoy a month of playing at the pace you would normally play at with regard to that particular competition.
Well, unless you want to, look good, if you want to get drawn. Maybe.
I have to say that I think for, I don't want to say most, but for a good number of people, they need this month off. they need the month to be able to just take a breath in between things, and then we're moving into holiday season. But there definitely is still some interest for some sort of team thing. We got to balance people's participation with people's burnout. We will get there, though. But yes, especially if you didn't play in team and team sounds interesting to you, this is a good chance to show where you'll sort out on those leaderboards if you want to be involved in the next round.
And maybe the next go round will, be announced a month out or a couple weeks out, and that'll be your time to really just put it into, show what you can do. So,
time to shine.
But that's something you can talk about in that channel that does not yet exist.
But hopefully will in a couple of days.
I'm sure it will. Yeah, we just need to get around to doing it.
I like to make channels.
We are aware.
So the next competition we have to talk about is the Gamertag Challenge, and I'm going to pass this over to Nate to give us some more details.
Oh, okay. Yes, I can tell you about the competition. This month, or I should say, today's the 1st. So we just wrapped up September's, and that was Freamwhole was the gamertag that we were using, and we will. We're back to the top of the show, and we will go into a draw for that in just a few moments. This month, starting today, is Fighter X93 Chip with 2 P's, and that is important to know because this month, because of Chip and his liberal use of the P's in his gamertag on Discord, we have modified the contest so that after you get your regular P entries, any additional game that begins with a P, if you score a single achievement in that game, you will get 1 extra draw. If you score 2 in that game, you're still going to get 1 extra draw. So it's time to dust off the collection, maybe go to GameStop, give them some cash influx to keep them afloat and not go in chapter 13. You can, basically, brush off all those P games. And that sounds horrible. So, phrasing.
You're in a lot of trouble for saying.
Oh, boy.
And Chip's game, his bonus game of the month. So, Freamwhole chose Fez. Chip loves his Trials games, and he chose the new Trials Rising, which I think was on sale last week. So, too bad. Too bad for you this month. Although by the end of the month, who knows? Maybe it'll go on sale. You can grab an easy achievement. Believe it or not, there are a few easy achievements in Trials games, but they are going to be a bear to get everything. We have not yet picked the next month, but we will, and we will announce that before the end of the month, so you have a little time to prepare and maybe strategize on what games you may or may not want to use. So with that being said, Em, I know you crunching some numbers and getting us our scoring and making sure that everyone entered their entries correctly. Are we ready to do a roll?
We are, but before we do the roll, I'm just going to go over a couple quick things I thought that were interesting when I was going through crunching numbers. First, thank you to everyone who did all the self-reporting and got all your entries in there. That definitely helped move things along. I only came across one person who had accidentally posted 2 achievements in a spot and reached out to them and got that all sorted. So everyone did a really nice job with those things. In terms of time zones, right, it's UTC is the cutoff. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're going by UTC time.
So everything looked good with that. So everything that was submitted on the sheet was verified. So we're good to go. I saw for the E achievements, because you had 2 E achievements this month, people really went through Alea. Is that how it is? Alea?
I think so, yeah.
That was definitely the top one, because I think that happened to be on sale. Right?
It was,
as the month started. And then Energy Cycle Edge and the Escapists were the other common E's. So keep that in mind. You still need one for Fighter Chip this coming month. Insofar as the letter O, which can also be tricky, Ori and One Leaves were the ones that people leaned on a lot. A couple other games I saw that came up a bunch. Worlds, which I think is like a PC game that's apparently quite grindy. I did not notice WWE maybe once. So L, your people, they're not represented. And Farm Together came up a lot. Also Lego, any Lego games for those L achievements. I noticed too that Jester, ran to the finish line. So good job getting that completed. And that human fall flat session bailed many of you out on needing a letter H.
Oh.
A couple other quick stats. There were 30 people.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hold on. I just want to quickly thank Chin and Waka for those. I wasn't on last week to thank them. I know they were thanked, but
Yes,
I don't want to thank them
without
again.
question. Chin and Waka both
Angel, Waka, and Devil
walked
Chin.
many people through and helped out a bunch of people, which didn't only help them with this, but also with GTASC. Some people did have RTDL achievements, so that was awesome. We had 30 people participate in Gamertag Challenge this month, 22 of which completed the entire tag. So good job, everyone. In addition to those folks, 8 of you got the full combo, which was 21 entries, because you also played Fez or had completed it previously. Of the people who had played Fez, 4, so half had already completed it, and that would be Chewy on Ice, Freamwhole, Matism, and NBA Kirkland. Out of all this when we put together, we have 493 total entries for this month, so I think it's time that we draw the winner.
What was the total number?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Good luck.
What was the total number, or are you doing all that?
Oh, I got everything together.
Okay, cool. So if we
But
can
it's-
edit that up. Yep.
Wait. Did you say? Did you say how many
30,
people?
Thanks for half listening. I think I said it twice even. Yes, 30 people participated.
Oh, you should let us know how many people.
All right. And I'm hoping next month to actually capture stats more frequently so I can kind of come up with more solid evidence about like which games were used most frequently. I just didn't have time this month.
That's a fun
Anyway.
step, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So our winner is, let me come back over to my list. The winner is Chewy on Ice.
Oh. Let the
Nice.
Wookiee win.
Punch it.
Yeah, just punch it. Let the Wookiee win. All that is perfect.
Wookiee of the year.
So the prize is a $10 game of your choosing. So just let us know. Reach out to us. I know that Chewy is in backlog mode, so we'll decide if we're going to be nice and let you know that you won now or let you get up to that next year. But congratulations.
How many pounds is that?
Like 8, 7?
Or Wookiee space
I
bucks?
don't know. I'm not good at conversion. But well done. Definitely congratulations on that. Chewy was one of the full 21 entry individuals. So good job. And good luck everyone next month for Chip. Get all those P games on your tag.
We've got to find a better term for that.
I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to say, but I've since forgotten it. So, any other gamertag challenge things we need to cover?
I think that covers it.
All right, and moving on from gamertag challenge, we have the GTASC to talk about. So, Elle, you didn't get to lead a discussion on any of these lovely contests. Why don't you tell us about GTASC for this week?
Well, GTASC, something. Oh, so I wanted to mention quickly something happened at the beginning of the week. I'm still not quite sure what happened, but there were some calculations that were redone on TA that a lot of people started in the negative.
Yeah, there were some DLC packs that never. I think they calculated based on a very small number of people having earned the achievement. So the big one was Monster Hunter, and the DLC pack came out and was calculated based on one person having unlocked the achievements, even though multiple people had. So if you had unlocked the game or unlocked that achievement, you got the same ratio, the same TA score as if one person and only one person had unlocked it. So this was a bug that affected several games. And sometime at the beginning of the week, that bug got sorted out. So if you had that Monster Hunter achievement worth 13,000 TA, oops, sorry, it went down a lot, and you got eliminated from GTASC this week, which is really unfortunate because it's not that player's fault necessarily. I would guess you would look at it and go, that's peculiar. I don't know why that's going on this way. But it was a many thousands of points worth of difference, which was an awful lot to overcome given the scoring. But that is sorted now, so there should be no future issue with that particular bug.
Okay.
Chin will tell me how I explained it wrong
With
in
that
Discord, so
said-
check there. But I think that's the gist of it.
All right, so Ella Follette 77, Beer Me 7, Keith and a bunch of numbers, Weasel Pizza, and Blaze Flaron were all eliminated from individual competition. As far as I can see, no one on the team side was eliminated. Actually, we were on the verge of elimination before going to
No, we
Minecraft
can
World. We
mention it
didn't
now.
mention that. Sweet. We went to a Minecraft.
I was actually
world and got
on the
some
verge
achievements.
as well, and I forget who.
Oh, yeah.
I think it must be. I think it was Jay Black. I think the helpful Canadian was pointing out people who were below the line, and sure enough, I was below the line, and I said, you know what? Don't really care about GTASC anymore, but it would be a shame to go out of individual competition without having used any of my bonuses. So I used my first bonus to stay above the line. If I didn't, I would have had to rush to play some games, and I was instead rushing to play games for for RTDL. So yeah, so I used my first bonus. I have one bonus left, so I probably have at least one more weekend before I just kind of drop out of the individual, I think.
All right, fair enough.
Did we get our bonus, Michelle?
The individual bonus last week was to have a 3,000 TA difference. So between that just being a ridiculous number
Good one.
and this DLC recalculation thing, it was not a good week for that bonus. But did you tell people what the bonus this week is?
No, the team bonus this week is for all the team members to get a 50-point exactly gamerscore achievement, which I think is pretty easy.
I seem to remember, I think it was Chin was saying that these bonuses are all kind of randomly selected from a list of bonuses. So that's why, as it goes along, you get this ridiculously easy one. So, yeah, if you're wondering, I think that's why.
So if you're curious about games you can use, really the easiest one that comes to mind is any of the Jackbox Party Pack games. I'm pretty sure every single one of them almost all the achievements in them are 50G. So just pick the one that would be easiest for you to do, and you can knock that out. And they also generally have pretty good ratio. I actually double dipped, and the random to-do list achievement I popped just before we started recording today in Zoo Tycoon was also worth 50 gamer score. So I have already done my part in getting our team that bonus. And I guess if I had actually invited L into my game, he might have gotten it too. But he's going to have to work for it this week. So there.
What achievement was that, Michelle? Talk about it.
It was called, I think, New Heavyweight Champ. And it was for completing 100 challenges. So in Zoo Tycoon, you have several different types of game modes you can play. There are different scenarios. There's free play. You have to play in the game's challenge mode. And as you play in challenge mode, you'll have certain things come up, like take a picture of a Bengal tiger or successfully breed an elephant. You have to complete 100 of these. Now, I've played enough Zoo Tycoon over time that I loaded it up today and already had 94%. So I just had to knock out a couple more. Nice. And that was it.
Awesome. Well, good luck to everyone still going hard in GTASC. I know that a lot of us were in for the badge, but I know a lot of people will take it very seriously.
Redemption.
And not just redemption.
No, I know. Gymbot.
There's also, Gymbot and Danny.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, as with anything, we're always pulling for anybody that's, in our community here and hoping everyone does well. And, Waka and Jen have already paid it forward with that, running those sessions. People help each other get into the Minecraft sessions and get their stuff done. So anything that we can come up with where we can help one another make it further in these competitions, that's what we'll do.
Nice.
So we have one non-contest thing, but we do have to draw another winner, guys. Do you know why?
Oktoberfest?
Yes. Did you hear in Germany that being hungover is now considered a sickness?
I did hear that, thanks to the Microsoft quiz of the day or something.
Yeah, you had the Bing.
Yeah, it was a Bing thing.
Yep.
So you can't be thirsty and hungry?
All right, anyway. Come on, guys. What do we have to draw a prize for?
For our lovely patrons,
Absolutely.
Of course.
Of course. So, am I drawing this one too?
You might as well. I think you got the tool set, you got the numbers. I'm assuming you...
Random.org,
yeah, I know.
It's called.
It was very difficult to navigate over to that website. Alrighty. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up a list here. And...
It's going to be Chewy. It's going to be Chewy. It's going to be Chewy.
Oh,
it's going to be Chewy. It's
not Chewy. But it is one of his countrymen.
Oh.
Hatton Time 90.
Hat on.
Oh.
Hats off to you, sir.
Sweet.
So you have won a $20 game of your choice. So just contact us, contact staff, reach out to us.
I am really unsure how we're going to get these
we'll
people
figure it
codes
out.
from Europe.
We will figure it out. People figure this stuff out all the time.
Waka,
Steamboat.
do it. Okay.
We'll get it over there somehow.
But congratulations on your win this month, and thank you again to our patrons. Again, the contributions definitely help us fund these contests. They help us with our hosting costs. We are continuing to look into equipment that will help the podcast get produced more effectively and sound better and crisper. So all of that is awesome. We could not do that without your support. So thank you again so much for contributing to the podcast and helping us keep going.
Absolutely. And we're also trying our best to provide our patrons with new and exclusive content every week. Starting with last week, they got the podcast a little early before everyone and got some outtakes and some the raw audio of
and
that
we
as well.
are still apologizing for that.
So they got to hear swear words, all the stuff that pTart was saying. She's just like all the stuff you heard on the podcast. She's not really that sweet.
I'm not gonna lie.
I know she was
She
really
is a sailor.
ridiculous.
She's a filthy, filthy sailor.
Well, what else do you expect from
Yes,
people
she
from
is.
Michigan?
It's true. She was stealing tires while recording. It's unbelievable. Speaking of patrons, I have been trying for the last couple of months. I've mentioned the fact that we need a community calendar, and I wasn't quite sure how to go about it, so I asked in our patron Discord channel for some help. And funny enough, the first person that offered to help was Hatton, but since he's a little bit out of the loop, unfortunately, being on the other side of the world or planet or wherever he is, but he did offer to help. But Doughboy actually took it upon himself to create a doc, and he shared it with us today, as a matter of fact, which is good timing with the RTDL team thing being over and all that stuff. So it's still a work in progress. I believe it's not open to everyone, but that could maybe change. So you would have to let us know if you want to be in a boost, or even better, if you'd like to helm a boost, and even better, if it's something that a lot of us need. I believe there are spots for boosts that we might have done already, such as Crackdown 3 Wrecking Zone, Hawken, and Uno. So if you missed out on those, maybe we can do that. I see those for Thursdays, and usually Thursdays are when we try to talk ourselves out of Borderlands 2. So I guess we'll see what happens there. Maybe we have to switch those to Wednesdays. I see Michelle added something she'd like to host on a Wednesday. You hear Michelle still, or did you sleep?
I was just on alert for more puns. Yes, I did have something I wanted to host. I mentioned in Discord a couple times, but I would like to actually get this rolling. A Quiplash or Fibbage, some other kind of Jackbox party pack game night. What's lovely about that is only the person hosting needs to actually have the game, and I believe Jackbox Party Pack 2 is actually even on Game Pass, so anyone can host it. 8
Perfect.
people can join the game, and then as many as are able to join can be the audience and vote for people. In my ideal universe, when this gets run, I would actually rather not be the person actually running the game, because I don't want to play. I want to watch and see what kind of hysterical answers people come up with. But whenever we get this rolling, I'd encourage everyone to not put your actual gamer tag in. So that way, when people are voting for what they think is funny, they won't know who it is necessarily. And maybe we can try to guess who was who at the end as just another kind of way to get the community engaged. So I think I had said the 16th maybe. But it is on the calendar.
Yes.
So October 16th, circle it in your calendars, probably around
Yeah, we need to come up
10 p.m. Eastern. I will make sure to drop the room code into Discord. The great thing about Jackbox Party Pack games is you do not need to be on your Xbox to be able to join in. So you can get most of it from paying attention via the app. You'll at least be able to see the questions and the different answers that were given. And of course, I'm sure we will be discussing it in Discord as it happens. So yeah, that's what I would like to do. And I'm sure there will be other game nights. This isn't just for boosting. I know those of you who came over from Z to Z, you remember we did a Rocket League tournament. That was a lot of fun. and had good participation. I think people enjoyed being able to be a part of that. So hopefully we'll be able to run some stuff like that. And we welcome suggestions. In case you haven't noticed by now, most of our gaming tastes are kind of on the similar side. So I would not necessarily suggest a Jump Force tournament, Koosh, but if you would like to, you can go ahead and do that, and maybe that's something we can do, and Koosh. You might find people to play with that you weren't aware, or maybe, the 4 people in the room who are not named Corey, who own the Power Rangers game, would want to play that too. So we can get that stuff rolling and try to engage games in that way that not necessarily those of us on the panel would speak about, so definitely bring your ideas.
Right, and not just boosts, but co-op games as well. World War Z, I see, is on the calendar, and with that coming to Game Pass, that's as good a game as any.
And
if Gears 5, Horde, or anything
there are games like Castle Crashers, where people can get carried a fair deal. So
right. Doesn't have to be a 10, 12 person thing. It could be 3 player, 2, 3, 4 players, anybody who needs a partner. Put it on the calendar, so that way we could talk about it on the show.
Thank you again so much to Dubois for actually putting a calendar together, because it's something we've talked about a lot, but actually following through on that will make a big difference in actually getting us started. So thank you again for doing that.
Oh boy. That one's for free.
That's where we missed the soundboard. So Elle, you know what's left?
Oh. No. Fine. Proclamation point.
I'll take it. Hello.
Oh, hi, Koosh.
I was just doing some cutting and pasting. Completion percentage. We have Doughboy. It's reached a milestone completion percentage of 35%. For streaks, we have Enigma Gamer 77 with a 300-day streak. We have Carpe Adam 79 at a 500-day streak. And we have Matrarch at a 2,200-day streak. Good job, but maybe not as impressive as the next 4 people. Nerve Bullet, Tropan, Toadstyle Venom, and Refork 3. All have 10-day achievements. Way to go, guys.
What?
Way to go.
We have 4 10-day achievement streakers in the Discord?
What are the chances?
4?
What are the chances?
I hear there's a rumor that Corey might be working on a 10-day streak, too.
Good luck to him.
Oh, wow.
And if he does get it, we'll be sure to read it off next week. Moving along. 2,200 days. That's really impressive, Matrarch. So I just want to point that out again. Don't leave our 10-day joke overshadowing your accomplishment there. That's impressive.
That's quite all right.
Moving on to Achievements 1, we have Dark Lord Davis with 8,000 achievements. Iron Fist of Snuff, who runs a extremely complicated contest. The BCM, Better Completions Matter, has 9,500 achievements won. Freaky.
No, I apologize. I do hate to ruin the flow of Proclamation Point, but I just also want to add to the shout out for Iron Fist of Snuff. We didn't talk about Better Completions Matter, but for those of you participating, this month's special challenge is a head-to-head where he manually matched up people with people that have similar enough game collections and found 5 games with similar amounts of achievements left in them. And then your job is to race to the finish and get more, or either get all the achievements or get more achievements than your person that you're partnered up with. This is an incredible amount of manual work, and he does it without fail every month and is available in Discord to answer questions. So just, again, I know it's Proclamation Point, but thank you so much, Iron Fist of Snuff, for all the work that you're doing with this, because it is an incredibly manual process, and people are definitely digging the competition. I know Prue's going for the full year random Game of the Month completion I don't know, badge or milestone, but it's definitely motivating him to play his games in a different way. So again, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. It's definitely not going unnoticed by us here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey, Michelle. Who'd you get matched up with, Michelle?
Big Eli. Well, since he's got benched, he's got nothing but gaming time, so I guess I'm out. Yeah.
Let's take a look here real quick. The Orange Box, Titanfall 360, Final Fantasy VII, Big Crown Showdown, and Halo Wars. Well, we played at least 4 of these together. Orange Box was a good one. That's a coinkydink.
I sort of.
Are you involved in this madness?
I have not been paying as much attention to the BCM as I did earlier in the year. But yeah, I was just blown away by the amount of work that he's been putting into this contest. I feel like I owe it to him to compete this month. So I went ahead and I added a ton of stuff to my to-do list. The games that I have, let's pull this up, are Blood Knights, The Legend of Korra, Unravel, Dark Dreams Don't Die, and The World of Van Helsing Death Trap. So nice. I will be... That's a good question.
And who are you against?
That part I did not recall.
Okay, I have it up here. Kez
yes, I'm
001.
Sure. I've run into Kez in some way before. I don't remember if it was one of the earlier competitions here or a UHH, but Kez is involved in a lot of these different competitions. That's right.
I need to hunt him down and get him in the Discord.
After he realizes that I might compete a little. Definitely not before.
All right.
Okay,
all that
after,
aside,
fine.
Continue with proclamation.
Okay, good
point.
idea.
Proclamation point. Let's see. Freaky RO. Moving right along. 10,000 achievements won. Kronos, also known as Xpovos. 11,500 achievements won. Ragnarok. Is that time already? 0272. 12,750 achievements won. KooshMoose.
If you smell
I did not
what
choose
Ragnarok
this section
is,
because
okay,
I didn't realize. KooshMoose has 13,250 achievements. Let's just pause. And Elroy OMJ, 18,500 achievements. Wakapeil, 22,000 achievements. And Sangria's with a paltry 49,750 achievements won. Way to go, guys.
Well, to be fair, Wakapeil would probably have that many achievements if he didn't spend so much time walking everyone else through Human Fall Flat. What an angel. All right, I got the gamerscore part because it's impossible to read, but I'm going to make a good effort here. Mike Pitch has reached a new milestone of 400,000 gamerscore, but not to be outdone, Sangria's has reached a new milestone of 4 times that. I'll leave you to do the math. R56 Cooper's Season 11 has reached a new milestone of 350,000 gamerscore. Wakapeil has reached a new gamerscore milestone of 600,000, and Dark Lord Davis has reached a new milestone of 200,000 gamerscore. On the
now, did you see... Wait, you stop rushing.
But okay.
Did you see what Mike Pitch did to get his 400,000?
Oh, okay. I will say I didn't see what he did, but I do know that he set it up. It was a 30 gamerscore achievement, I think, in a 360 game. And I know it was more difficult for him to get than he had initially anticipated. And he had to shelve Gears Pop for a couple days because he didn't want to accidentally pop something and ruin that unlock. But, Elle, I don't know what the unlock was, so if you could let us know, please.
It was the achievement called 400K Club in Guitar Hero 2.
Oh, nice one.
So it was very clever.
That was very clever.
400K, yeah.
That's why Guitar Hero 2 was randomly brought up again in Discord. Okay.
And he, I think he showed a screenshot of getting 99% of Freebird on Medium.
Yes, he did. Mm-hmm. That's the way to do that one.
So nice job there.
Yeah.
That's a 2.77 ratio.
I always appreciate when people put thought into their milestone achievements.
But as you were with TA score.
All right. On to TA score. Jimbot, allegedly from UK, has reached a new milestone of 1.25 million True Achievement score. True Marvelous has reached a new milestone of 2.25 million True Achievement score. Prue has reached a new milestone of 950,000 True Achievement score. That's right, the next time we mention Prue's True Achievement milestone on this podcast, he will be in that 7-digit club. Hatton90, our most recent Patreon winner, has reached a new milestone of 125,000 True Achievement score, and X the Hero, hey X, has also reached a new milestone of equal to what Jimbot UK reached. So if you're paying attention, you'll know what he got. Which was 1.25 million.
Oh. All right, you left this one for me, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Hatton. 5 Hattons. So 90 times 5. 32. Top 2,000 of the TA leaderboard for Q.
That's not a thing.
Is that like pool?
Billiards and snooker, I would imagine.
Whoa.
Not Quidditch?
Yeah. Those all sound like dirty words.
Shouldn't Fantasia be in there? Like a baton cue?
Oh, like you get your cue.
Yeah.
See what you did there. Well, he's in the top 20,000 of TA for sports ball. Who put that? Must have been Corey. And the top 20,000 for American football. So Haton plays Madon. Top 500. It's late. Top 500 of the England TA leaderboard for American football. And more football. Wait, that's got to be not American football. Top 20,000 of regular football. Tommy. Now in the top 2,000 of the California gamerscore leaderboard for the 360. That was fun. And Dark Lord Davis, now in the top 100 of the Kentucky TA leaderboard. And last but not least, pTart, a.k.a. Sarah H. Period, is now number 1 in the Michigan gamerscore leaderboard for a collectible card game. And what do we say to that?
On
Not
a Thursday.
today. Oh.
Come on, guys. Pretty.
Oh.
Jeez. So easy. Oh. Jimbot, India, reached his goal also. He, 3 months early, 9, 10, 11, 12. What? Yes. He got his TA goal of 1,250,000 3 months early. He had it set for January 1st, 2020, India time. Congratulations to everybody. We've been talking for a long time. Thank you for bearing with us. Talk to us on the Discord. And I think I'm going to tell Kenny to put a real outro here.
Hey, Nate, do you want to try recording an outro?
What would the outro be?
It says we done.
We done. We out. We out.
done. We out, bitches.
We out. But if you'd like to continue the conversation, you can either reach out to us on Twitter, Mixer, Discord, or you can help support us on Patreon. Best way to get in touch with anyone in the podcast is Discord. Join us by jumping into our server at discord.io/AH101.
But just keep in mind that if you post any more screenshots from TA in light mode, you might get a 24-hour ban. Beer me.
That was a fib.
All right, 48.
All right, class dismissed. We're done.
Yes.
Do you have real-life friends? Not anymore! Because this game will ruin those sacred bonds as fast as you can press the fire button! Can you make the difference with only one bullet? Or maybe a missile? A chicken? Guilt Battle Arena! Duke it out with up to 3 of your so-called friends, and then proceed to throw the controller at them because they're better than you! With thousands of game modes and millions of modifiers! Play hot potato with bombs! Play capture the flag with cannons! Aw, you lost. Come back to haunt your friends as a bullet-stealing ghost! Or crank up the speed to infinity! Don't forget to use the high-tech instant replay to slowly revel in the despair of your enemies! All right, enough of that. Drag your pals to your couch, pick a cute character, and turn the competition up to 11! Versus or co-op! It all comes down to pure, local multiplayer fun! Guilt Battle Arena is not responsible for broken controllers, shattered dishes, ruined friendships, tears, fights, punches, bruises, or any collateral damage.
Hello everyone, I'm Wakapeil, and I recently stumbled over the oddity that is Guilt Battle Arena. This simple party game, developed by a single developer, features a wide variety of single-screen fights for up to 4 players or bots. Every character is equipped with a gun you can use to murder or stun your opponents depending on the game mode. The quirk being you only having a single bullet. Every time you fire your gun, you have to retrieve the bullet to be able to fire it again. Guilt Battle Arena sets up a story, but just as an intro and an outro once you complete all horde mode levels, which will award you an achievement per level you manage to get 50 kills in. Once I realized you only got hurt by weapons and not the characters holding them, I breezed through this mode with very little trouble, but your mileage may vary. There is also a title update which added 495 gamerscore to the game, upping the total to 1,495 gamerscore, worth 2,779 TA. The time estimate is a bit strange here, since the base game is 4 to 5 hours on TA, while the title update itself is 3 to 4 hours. This is a bit misleading, as the title update content will help you with the 2 grindy achievements in the base game for playing 250 rounds as well as 500 rounds. In fact, 38 of GUILT Battle Arena's achievements can be earned in 2 to 3 hours. They are even easier if you have 3 controllers, as you need to have 3 players or bots in a match for some of the achievements to unlock. This is not always clear in the achievement descriptions, by the way. The remaining 2 achievements can be a pain, as I was just over 100 rounds when I completed all the other achievements, meaning I had to play 400 more for the completion. While this can be semi-idled by just mashing the A button over and over, I went for a faster approach by adding one single easy bot in a deathmatch with faster bullets enabled. This meant I could complete a round in around 10 seconds. The 400 rounds took me around 2 hours, which was not very fun but allowed me to listen to a podcast with little distraction. All in all, the game took me just over 4 hours to complete. While I enjoyed the first 2 hours of GUILT Battle Arena, the grind part sucked, and the asking price of $10 is steep, but I recommend grabbing it on a decent sale for an easy 40 achievements worth 1,495 gamerscore and 2,779 TA. Have a nice day, everyone!
Am I the only one that every time the name Jonas is said, I think of the song?
The Jonas Brothers?
No, my name
No,
is
I
Jonas.
think of the Jonas.
My name is Jonas. Bow, 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 bow.
My name is Jonas. I'm carrying the wheel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Achievement Hunting 101 Game Club for OXENFREE. I am Kronos, and for tonight's discussion, I am joined by CarpeAdam79.
Hello.
Freamwhole.
Hello.
And pTartTX.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Good to have you on board this time, from the start. We are going to be discussing more OXENFREE. If you have not heard our previous parts, you may be coming in a little confused, but hopefully you've had a chance to play through OXENFREE up to the point where we're going to be discussing. If not, as a warning again, we will be discussing this game in depth, so there will be spoilers. I recommend that you play the game first, but hopefully we will give you some entertaining insights into the game as we go. Last week, we discussed our option where we were going to save Ren, or figure out what was happening with Ren and try and meet up with him. And we took a path past a lake, and met up with Nona briefly, eventually met up with Ren, and sent them both essentially back to Harden Tower, while we decided then to go on and try to rescue Clarissa, which was our other choice when we left the tower the first time round, which is where I had chosen to go first, but the three of you had all chosen to go save Ren, so we went with that path first. And now you're going to get to see what I saw. So this path of Clarissa requires us to go to Fort Milner. And we've just, in your situation, we've just left the woods and have walked across the bridge into Fort Milner. And it's going to be much the same at this point. Even though this is a different path, it really is just about the order. Some of the things that happen are going to feel different for you than they did for me, such as the things that felt different for me when we were going around on Ren's Loop would feel different for you because you saw that first and I was seeing it second. But ultimately this doesn't change as much. And that was a question you guys had last time. How much does this actually affect things? The answer is not too much, but it affects you in the mind. So I want to talk to you guys and see how it went for you. What were your experiences as you came into Fort Milner?
So if I get this...
Creepy.
Yeah, it was creepy. If I understand this correctly, then, Kronos, you, as coming in the other way, you would have entered at the bottom by the cafeteria at the base of that lighthouse thing, and the three of us came in through the top.
Yes.
And crossed the cliffside on our way over there.
I tried to go up, and I went right past the door that you're eventually going to go through. We'll come back to that in a second. And I walked all the way around, and I got to the path where you guys came in from, and I was trying to open that up, and it wouldn't open. So it is open for you. It would not open for me.
That's funny, because I saw the door you go through, I saw it too, and I completely ignored it, because it's like, well, there's this big dumb lighthouse here with this red light. Like, clearly that's my thing. I got to do something here first.
Yeah. Yeah, I went there first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little more obvious to you guys, because you've done this a couple of times now. You've had this thing keying you in that, oh, this is the thing I need to do. This is the game mechanic. I hadn't had that. I'd had the one experience in the cave, and then I came right here. So I'm sitting around in Fort Milner saying,
that's a good point.
Heck? Where am I supposed to
Yeah,
go?
we had the gondola.
I know I'm supposed to go find Clarissa, and she's over here somewhere. Yeah, so you had a gondola, you were saying, and it's the solution was, of course, that you take your radio out at the light, and you use the radio to tune into the red light the way you always do. And I figured it out eventually, but it took me a good 5 or 6 minutes of wandering around that screen in Fort Milner to figure it out on my own. But having had that experience on the other side, the second loop, no matter which way you go, is a little bit easier. You're familiar with the game mechanics now. So the light talks to you.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, it sings to you in the radio style. It gives you the radio broadcast and tells you something interesting might be happening soon. It's not nearly as creepy as the rest of the conversations go on, but it does give you that notice that, this is still something strange and outside the ordinary. Usually, as we discussed earlier, tuning the radio does not have these kinds of effects, but it does start bringing that right up.
That's interesting because, I was messing around with the radio the whole time. I hadn't clued in on those rock stacks. So I was just pulling my radio up wherever, listening to music, finding the talk radio station, listening to whatever. So I probably heard that and was just like, yeah, okay, more background noise, whatever, and just completely tuned it out. What did they say? Did pTart or Carpe, did you glean anything from that? I completely glossed over it.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
I'm also struggling to remember if it's the point where I'm thinking it is, where you're in that one lower room and it has that overhanging red light. I just remember it being super, super creepy because I was sitting in my living room in the dark playing this alone, and I was getting super creeped out, hair standing up on the back of my neck.
No, this is before that.
No, we're talking
Kronos,
about when you first get there, right?
Say?
And there's that red light. Got the door on the right, but then there's also a door on the left.
If you walk past the door, it sort of makes a sound letting you know that's where you're supposed to be going. And if you try it, it says something along the lines of it's not locked, but it's like it's blocked. You can't open it, and it becomes opened when you trigger this lighthouse or water tower event. It's just radio snippets, but it doesn't really have a whole lot in. I didn't write this one down because it wasn't all that interesting.
Okay,
but it's just that little extra thing. And we'll get to the thing that pTart was talking about in a couple of minutes, because that's where we're going to spend a fair bit of time, I think. That sequence was pretty intense.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's another puzzle in this game that I solved without realizing I was solving a puzzle.
Yeah, for sure.
I've had a few of those experiences, but it's fine.
No, in some cases that's great because you feel super smart for it.
Well, it's not even that. I think we're just so attuned to being, the gamer mind is just okay, well, here's a mechanic I think can progress the story. We're just so invested in the story that we completely overlook the game mechanics that are happening because we're just firing on an autopilot. It's oh, yeah, okay, if you're playing a first-person shooter, you're aim down sight, pull the trigger, here we go. Well, and, you're operating on another level. So I think as, gamers like we are, we're experiencing this story so much more deeply because we don't have to think about, okay, how do I solve this? Because it's just coming to us. Because they're not overly difficult puzzles until you get to the game of Hangman. We'll get to that.
We will get to the game of Hangman.
Yeah.
Bothered me.
But before we get to Hangman, Jonas gets himself stuck in a room. We get through the door. The very next screen, we're exploring that, and he goes into a room, and he gets himself locked inside, and we have to free him.
Well, he chases Clarissa
some interesting
inside,
things happen
doesn't
along
he?
the way. Yeah, he thinks it's Clarissa.
Yeah.
We
She's
saw
not in
something.
there,
Yeah, we saw
so.
something run past. I thought it was Clarissa. I mean, it was oh, there she is. But she looked weird. Like she was kind of grayish, and I was like, what the hell? Where's she going? What's going on? And I thought, oh, well, maybe because Nona had seen us before and was all freaked out, that Clarissa is oh, who are these? Oh, I'm freaked out because Alex is here. Look out. She was crazy before, and so I just kind of passed it off, and then Jonas goes taking off, and it's oh, well, given the conversation that we've started to have with Jonas about Clarissa, I'm starting to think man, what's your deal with her? And then when he ran off, I'm oh, you so want to try to hook up, you son of a... I don't...
Yeah.
And some of the conversation in that sequence and then the next scene, there Alex is really grilling him on that. So why are you so interested in Clarissa? Are you trying to date her too?
Yep.
So she's right there with you.
Yeah, I picked up on that as well. And it'd be weird, each of her brothers dating Clarissa.
Yeah. That would be
Yeah.
weird. I didn't even put that together till right this second, but you're right, that is kind of gross.
Is it more or less gross than when we were trying to think that maybe we would date him?
Hey, at this point,
That
at
is
that
true.
point,
Honestly, I think that
I
might be more
didn't
gross.
know. But now, like, the cat's out of the bag. Everybody knows. He's just being a creeper.
Everyone's on board with all of this information.
I mean, I know some people in the South are okay with that.
Boy.
No.
Can we go in there?
So when I saw Jonas in the door, I mean, so predominantly is that picture. There's like a poster. There's 2 posters on the wall with the walkie-talkie and the lock, the open lock, and it's like,
yep,
yeah.
Okay, well, there's some sort of voice
it's
mechanism
really
here.
signposting for you.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable, and it's like, okay, well, so I can't interact with this here. Let me go up and take a look at this upper room or whatever, and that's kind of where things start. I'm trying to remember when the mirror comes into play, because you walk past it the first time and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. There's the mirror, but I had a little bit of knowledge of like the mirror thing, and so I kind of knew what to expect, and so I was waiting for the mirror thing to happen.
And it didn't happen right then.
Nope, totally didn't.
It's going to happen in a minute or two, but it didn't happen right then. So you climb up the stairs, you get into the other room, and you find some equipment that gives you some information, pieces together the puzzle, what you need to do. And Jonas is yammering at you the entire time. He's taken on Ren's job here of being the motor mouth.
Yeah.
And you walk back down to open the door with your trusty radio again. And this time, as you walk past the mirror, what happened?
Is this where you take the photo in the mirror?
Nope, before that.
No, the photo's after you open the door back up and Jonas comes out, but you walk past it first, and
something happens.
You're going to talk to yourself.
I'm just trying to remember. The photo stood out so much to me. But
oh, yeah.
Yeah, because there was that entity in the reflection.
Yep.
Like, I remember there being a conversation, but I don't remember the specifics of the conversation.
So, did you guys see the gamer tag pop across?
Yes. Mine was Castle Will Kill.
Okay. I know that guy. Or person. I don't even know if it's a guy or girl.
It's a guy. He's from another podcast, I believe.
I recall that name. pTart, who is on yours? Anybody we know?
I don't know. I didn't know I was supposed to pay attention to that.
Mine was Narcissist Code, and the reason that was strange to me is because just being on the Z to Z podcast, I would get a lot of friend requests, and so there's a lot of people that I game with and people that I don't necessarily know, a lot of people I joined up through Destiny clans, and so this Narcissist Code is a person that I don't regularly game with, but I get the notifications when they pop up on my screen, and this happened to be the last person to sign in that triggered the notification on my screen because it happened like 3 minutes before this event. And so I'm wondering, like, is it the last person to sign in? And that's how the, seeing behind the curtain of which gamer tag pops
I honestly
up?
don't know how it selects. That's a clever idea.
I don't know, because I don't get pop-ups of people signing in unless they're on my favorites list, and I don't have very many of those. But I didn't even realize I was friends with him on Xbox, to be honest. I don't remember if I've played anything with him or not. If I have, it was a long time ago. But is there a point to that?
Yes, there is a point to that, and we'll come back to that a little bit later on. But now that we're talking about the gamer tag and the gamer tag talking to you in this mirror, I want to bring us back to what I promised we'd talk about last week when we were discussing the Alex who was talking to us in the lake.
Yeah.
The Alex who's talking to us in the lake is another example of this. It's another person with a gamer tag over their head. However, frequently you can't see the gamer tag because the ripple effects on the water make it illegible.
Oh, I didn't even... Yeah.
Oh.
Interesting. Oh. I wish I have a recording of that.
But it's the same mechanic being used. Yeah.
I wonder who it was.
So, is the reflection that you're seeing somehow something that the other person did, causing it to say what it says?
Yes.
Oh.
Ooh.
Next level.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The game doesn't just pull the gamer tag, and I don't know how it pulls the gamer tag, or how it even starts. The first person who plays this game, how did they have an experience?
Sure.
But now that enough people have played it, it pulls somebody from your friends list who has played it and tells you something that they chose in their game.
I'm trying to even think of when this happened, though, because the comment that it made to me was, "Don't let Jonas talk to his mother." It was the option I
Yes, this one is about Jonas and his mother.
Yeah, and it said, "Don't let Jonas talk to his mother." And it's like, okay.
Narcissist Code told you not to let Jonas talk to his mother.
Yeah.
Rogue 1992, who spoke to me, told me the exact opposite. He said, when the time And when the opportunity comes up, let Jonas talk to his mother.
It's the same situation that happened during the lake, and I responded the same way. Jonas's mom is dead. Like, she gone.
Exactly. So, yeah, you're exactly right. You know, how can we make Mike break up with Clarissa or not? How can we let Jonas talk with his mother or not? Those people are all dead. We're not going to have further interactions with them. Or
are we?
Or Clarissa won't.
Oh.
Or are we?
Bum, bum, bum.
So that freaks Alex out a little bit.
It freaked out Brandon.
She walks forward. She opens up the door. And she lets Jonas out and has an opportunity to tell him about his experience, the experience with the mirror. Did you tell Jonas what happened, or did you keep it to yourself?
I kept it to myself because at this point I was kind of getting pissed at Jonas. Like he was kind of getting on my nerves, and so I was like, you know what? No, he's doing his own thing. He's all interested in Clarissa. I'm taking this with me. I don't know what's going on, but he's not helping. So I'm gonna figure this out on my own by myself.
How about you, Adam?
I think my response was more of the, okay, something weird's happening again. Whatever the option was, it was something like that. So I mentioned that something had happened, but I don't think it was like a specific about what it was.
Yeah, and I believe my choice was exactly the same as Adam's. Because I've always been trying to bond with Jonas in my playthrough, be like the nice sister. So just trying to be open and upfront with him. So I believe I did share. I'm not sure if I got down into the deep specifics.
I did give the specifics. I said, hey, the mirror just talked to me, or whatever that choice was. And so the fact that Jonas then wants to go and interact with the mirror himself was very in keeping because I had told him what had happened. You guys didn't give him as much information, and I know that he's going to go, and eventually he's going to take the photo of the mirror, as we've discussed a little bit already.
Yeah.
Right.
How did he express that to you, that he was going to take a photograph of the mirror for you guys?
I don't remember.
I also can't remember the specifics because I think...
Was he just taking a selfie or something?
I thought it was along the lines of like Rockstar Hero, or it's something about thanking her for rescuing him and taking a picture to celebrate the moment.
Yeah,
cool.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
More of a commemoration thing, not like a hey, let's try and see what's going on.
Right.
Because I have told him already that this has happened, and because we've got creepy things happening on the island, I tell him that something creepy has happened with the mirror, and he's like, cool, let's take a photo of it and see what happens. And I'm like, that's a really bad idea, Jonas. Why are you doing this? That's not the experience you guys have, where you can berate him for bad decision-making because, he doesn't have any ill intent, really. But trying to take a photograph of these guys... Why would you want to do that?
But even in the other pictures, like at the lake scene and what was the other picture? Like you could see the glowing red eyes in the background. Like they're there.
Yep.
So things are getting, they're creeped out. Like, so, he kind of already knows this is happening. So me just to say like, yeah, no, things are weird, whatever, let's go.
But this picture was more than red eyes. Like, saw,
this one,
at least in
this
mine.
one in the mirror was significant.
Yes, like full entity.
There's a thing.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you see the photo, you can definitely tell there is something there, and it does not look friendly.
Okay, so now's a moment for me to bring up something that's pretty cool as well. After the photo is taken, you don't get to see the photo right away.
Nope.
You have to change the scene, and then the photos are the scene transition images that the game uses. Right. So you see it as you're changing scenes. But as soon as the photo is taken, you can see more red eyes throughout the entirety of the background.
For sure. Up in the, there's that staircase that went to that upper room, and just above that staircase, kind of in that little background area there, the little red eyes come floating around, and then I thought there was some down to the left, too, like at the bottom of the second set of stairs, kind of where you said something about the classroom, like, oh, I can't believe they left that like that, or it's creepy that this was all staged like this, and the little red...
With all the handprints?
No, that's in the next scene, but...
Handprints are
but they were like
okay.
school desks or a cafeteria or something. But there were some eyes down there too at the bottom of the steps, and it was like, dude, there's these eyeballs all over the place.
Gosh, I don't remember the eyeballs everywhere.
They were creeping me out. Well, because they don't necessarily look. You remember the picture? They don't necessarily look like eyes per se, but they're those. They almost look like sideways candle flames. because
they're very
subtle.
subtle.
They're just this little kind of like red tinge, and you're almost like, is that like a firefly? Is that like but they're equally spaced, pointing in opposite directions, and it's like, no, that's like the bridge of a nose. Like there's, they're following some sort of pattern of where an entity's eyes would be.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the sprinkling of the eyes as well.
And pTart, I was in the same boat as you doing this. This playthrough was at like 11:30 at night in my house with my headphones, in the dark, and I was, sitting on my couch with my kitchen and entryway all behind me. So if anyone wanted to come and creep me out like Cronus's wife, that would have been the opportunity. I would have flipped out.
The game, we've mentioned this before, but the game does an amazing job of getting under your skin, not with jump scares or any of the usual techniques, but with just this completely chilling atmosphere.
Yeah.
The atmospherics in this game are astounding.
There's like so heavy. It's like I remember multiple instances of where I was sitting there and experiencing this and just like looking around my room and just saying, I'm still here in reality, right? Like this, I'm just trying to ground myself and say, okay, this is just a game. You're all right. Let's keep playing. And it's just one sentence pep talk, but just, hey, this is you're having fun. Remind yourself you're having fun.
I actually had to do the same thing. I had to pause, like, okay, look around my living room, like, okay, that's not actually going on. There's no there's no red lights. There's no random scary radio recordings, and that tuning noise.
Oh yeah.
When you tune the radio to make those triangles, oh, that really
it's haunting.
Yeah,
haunting.
Yes.
Are you guys actually having fun? Is this still fun for you?
Oh yeah.
I'm just worried when my dog comes down with his little collar and he's gonna do it at some point, and I'm gonna be real unhappy when he does because I'm gonna possibly pee my pants. I don't know.
For me, it's the mystery. It's just the mystery of it all, because I like sci-fi type stories, and this to me has kind of not like a real in your face so much, but it's more just like a paranormal type of thing going on, and just trying to dig through all of the clues that we get along the way and trying to figure out what this means and how it all fits together like a puzzle. I have ideas of what might be going on, but I still don't really know, and that's what's kind of keeping me with it. Is I want to know what is going on.
To keep with that puzzle analogy, it's like, typically when you start a puzzle, I don't know for you, but this is for me, you make the frame and you fill in the middle.
Oh, cool.
But this game feels like you're starting in the middle and you don't know how big it's going to get. You're just adding pieces from this middle thing, and you're like, at some point this is going to turn into a picture. I know it will. But I'm really excited as I keep putting these pieces down and fitting them all in here and just getting an idea of what the hell's going on.
Mm-hmm. And the game has been fun because we were talking about obviously kind of the scare, horror, terror factor. But it's not like that game is at that level all the time. There's a reprieve from that. There's a good, splash of humor and some interesting dialogue. So, I mean, it's not intense scary all the time. So I'm glad it's not it goes between the two ends. It's not constant one scary or not scary at all.
Although we get to a scary part here.
Oh yeah, the scary part's going to come up next.
Yes.
You mentioned your dog coming in, needing to be taken on a walk would maybe make you pee your pants. Jonas in our next scene has had it with lack of bathroom breaks.
Oh yeah,
and there's been no bathroom. He's like, I'm sorry, but I have to do this, and he just whips it out and starts peeing on the floor.
Like, dude, you were just outside.
What the hell is this?
We were just outside.
Yeah, this is exactly what pTart was just saying. Where this type of thing totally diffuses the situation. It's perfectly timed. It's perfectly paced. You are freaked out, and all of a sudden, you get to watch a boy urinate on your TV, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, these are just kids, and they, we're okay. It's a safe place. It's a safe place. You're going through this roller coaster, and they're pacing it so well. It is remarkable.
It does end up being a bit of humor because he says something along the lines of, "Yeah, the acoustics are really carrying it,"
Yep.
because he's trying to be more discreet, but it's kind of loud. It's kind of obvious that he's taking a whiz there.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, well, if the acoustics are carrying, what else is carrying, guy? I don't want to have any part of this.
See, I was thinking that he was gonna tick those entities off, and they were gonna do something because he's peeing in
Same.
their house.
I that crossed my mind.
Maybe that's why he's the target.
That crossed my mind too. Of like, oh, you're defiling these people's homes.
Yeah.
Like,
So messed
what if
up.
those eyeballs were sitting right down there? You would have hit them right in the face.
I was just uncomfortable because, like, I'm standing there watching my brand new stepbrother just whip it out and pee right in front of me. I have a brother, and my entire life he has never done that in front of me. Thank goodness.
It's not a normal behavior. I think that would be a thing that would give me concern about someone's judgment.
Yeah.
Did you guys stay relatively close to him, or did you walk away? Like, I remember I walked all the way to the door. Like, I was trying to get as far away from him as possible. I was like, I'm uncomfortable by this. Alex doesn't want to see this, and we're already, like I said, having some issues with Jonas right now, so this is the last thing I need. And so I tried to get as far away from him as possible.
I did as well. I went as far left on the side of the screen because I'm sorry, I didn't want to see.
Oh, you went left? I went
other
right.
regions.
Yeah. I tried to go through that door.
Nether regions.
Yeah, the door you just come through, which you cannot go through anymore. It locks as you come back through it.
Yeah, I went over there. I was like, oh, I can't go back out the door.
I got stuck in this room for a while, actually, because you go through the window in the end, and for whatever reason, I just couldn't figure out how to get through the window. I'm at the window, pressing the button to jump through the window or whatever, and it's not responding. And so I'm just getting more and more upset, because in my mind, I'm Alex here, in this room, stuck in this creepy situation, and it's full of urine! It just makes it that much worse that I was stuck in that room. We get out of the room, we go down the escape ladder or whatever it is, so we can get around, and there we see Clarissa one more time, and she's running into the next building. We call out to her, and she just doesn't respond. She's just completely ignoring us, like we don't exist yet.
So again, this just plays into me thinking she has seen us before and is creeped out like Nona was. Like that was my brain path on this one.
To me, it almost is like we're not entirely in the same plane of existence, so she doesn't even know we're there. Maybe
that's totally valid.
She just looked off.
She does look a little off, doesn't she?
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it almost seemed like she had like that grayish, reddish glow of like when the others were possessed by those entities.
Like the color was sucked out of her.
Do you remember what color clothes Clarissa was wearing?
On the beach?
Yeah, on the beach.
I thought it was
red?
like was she? Oh,
she was wearing some red.
All I remember was like black, white, and gray. I don't remember any color, so that's why when I seeing her here, I was just like, oh, that's just emo Clarissa being her moody old self.
Yeah, Clarissa is our red character in this. She wears a lot of red. Her text is in red if you have subtitles on. Her name is in red when she's the one speaking. So she's red. The Clarissa who's running along here, she's still got red coloration, but it seems to be, at least to me, subdued.
Yeah,
it's not as vibrant as the red that was on the beach when she was wearing it.
And this building with that gigantic mural on the side of it, that seemed a little ostentatious.
Yeah, the Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, very much of like, you know, that would be on your B-52 bomber, the side of your plane.
Yeah, the entire island feels like it's basically surplus from World War II at this point.
Yeah, 100%.
We chase her into the building, and she's gone again. Unsurprising at this point. And this is where we come into that game of Hangman we had mentioned before. So the people who have played the game know what we're talking about. But for someone who is not as familiar with the game or has forgotten it somehow, I can't imagine how you would forget this portion. Tell me what happened, Adam.
One thing I wanted to say before that, though, is it was just hitting me, this whole thing with Clarissa looking different. And I'm thinking that this is one of those situations, again, where we're seeing something maybe from the past. So maybe this is a time that Clarissa was there on the island before, and we're seeing that Clarissa, not the one that's there
like an
now.
echo or something?
maybe. That's kind of where I'm going with. Was kind of leaning with that. But on the whole hangman thing, when everything goes upside down.
Well, so what happens when you open the door? Explain the room. Talk about the room, because that is very. It is.
Oh, the handprints everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you mentioned the handprints right away.
It was so creepy.
I mean, they just stand out like a sore thumb.
Really? Oh yeah.
So bright.
And
it's the only bit of white in the whole room.
I don't remember exactly when it happens, but like when more handprints start hitting the wall, that really made my hair stand on end. That was after the game, wasn't it? That was.
That's after the game, but it starts off with about 7 handprints, I think I counted, on the chalkboard, and it's like someone took chalk residue and made a handprint out of it, but it also looks like it could have been paint, honestly. So it's like kids had put their hands on it, and that looks really cute.
I didn't see cute at all. No.
No, there was no cute factor.
None whatsoever. Not in that setting.
It's funny because, again, you're in a classroom setting, so I assume kids. But given the scope of the image, how small your character is, it's hard to tell size. I mean, they very well could be an adult classroom with adult hands, but because of a classroom setting, I immediately think kids, and because I thought kids, that made it even more creepy. For some reason, kid ghosts are way worse than adult ghosts in my head.
Yeah, the kid tropes in horror movies are always the terrifying ones.
They're the worst.
The twins or the blonde-haired, blue-eyed kids that just stare into your soul.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that amped up the tension quite a bit. So the urination scene is long in the past now. I am at full alert and very much freaked out again.
It's about to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
So something falls onto the roof. Sounds like it might be like corrugated steel, and Alex has a chance to play it off as it's just a bird, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't buying it.
No. Yeah, maybe like an airplane bird.
And there's the lamp, that bright red bulbed lamp. That tells us what we need to do.
Fire up that radio, baby.
Oh, so eerie.
So when we fire up the radio, the entities are talking to us,
mm-hmm.
and they want to play a game. We've seen how playful they are on the other loop, and now we're seeing it again here. They want to play a game of Hangman. And maybe because Jonas peed on the floor, Jonas is going to be our Hangman.
Yeah.
The game is 3 questions long. How many questions did you guys get right?
I only got 1 right. I was bad. I wasn't that bad. Sorry, pTart.
I got 1.
I at least got 1 right. I got the cookies question right.
I would have had all 3 right, but when it went upside down, I wasn't sure if I was still supposed to select my button based on the quadrants it was in or based on the reverse. So I guessed the wrong one. I got it wrong. I was like, dang it, I knew the answer. So I would have gotten them all right.
Is that an achievement for getting them all right?
No, that is not an achievement.
Oh, that's shocking that it's not.
If it had been a different game, that easily could have been an achievement, and that would have been a good achievement to have had in there. But this game has relatively few achievements, and they're all pretty straightforward. A lot of them are collectible based, a lot of them are at the end of the game. There's really only 2 that are independent of those kinds of things, and that's the slapping wren that we mentioned and the one that Adam mentioned last week for jumping the chasm.
Are the questions always the same? The 3 questions?
The questions are always the same.
So it's always cookies. So where do you find the school name? I have no idea where that came from.
I guessed.
Was it written somewhere?
No. No, that came up somewhere.
Okay, so they said it at some point?
Was it? Yeah. I think it was one of the things around the island where there's certain areas where you can turn on your radio and to a certain channel and you can hear history.
Okay.
I think that's where I got it from.
Gotcha. I had no clue. Right. I mean, so I was just total shot in the dark. The number of deaths I actually had listened to during, I had turned on that radio broadcast to hear the loop, and I actually heard it, but the answer I did was the number of officer deaths of 12 versus the people deaths of 85 or whatever. And so, I heard the right number.
Right, they're asking for...
I just picked the wrong one.
They're asking for officer deaths, which was the 85, and I was saying that the total number was 97 because you had 12 passengers who were civilians.
That's right.
And so since 97 wasn't on the board, I was freaking out. I got that one wrong because I said, well, it's none of these because 97 is not there. So therefore, I select 53. which was another incorrect answer.
So I didn't know you had all this extra information just playing the radio whenever, so hence my big old goose egg that I got on that one. Same with Adam. I did know the second one, but I selected the wrong one because of being upside down. And
Yep.
I remember pausing because that was the cookies one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the cookies one.
I remember pausing for an inordinate amount of time because it was upside down, and I'm like, okay, and like almost to the point where like I'm looking at my controller and I'm like, do I flip it upside down? Like, what am I doing here?
Right. That's where I was too.
So yeah, for the same reasons, because I got that one wrong, because it was upside down, and because I got the number of officers wrong, I only got one correct, my initial playthrough on this one. So that played into how the rest of this scene went for me. We finished the game of Hangman. However many you get right or wrong, the game proceeds, and the entities are unhappy with your performance, even if you get all three of them right. You know, they say that they're happy, but they're clearly not based on their activities.
Mm-hmm.
Jonas is doing what Ren did last time for you guys, and what I am seeing for the first time ever at this point, and it is terrifying.
Right.
Because he's a ragdoll with the red eyes, and it's late at night, and it's dark in the room, and I'm alone, and my wife's about to jump scare me. It is all kinds of creepy.
So I'm trying to remember if does the entity prompt you for a response? Because I wrote down my response, but I forgot how I got there. Do you have any insight on that, Cronus?
Which response? I need a little more detail on this one.
So the response that I gave them, or it was a question to them, and I asked, "Are you the dead officers?"
Okay.
So I can't remember the context with which that came up, but that was my choice. Thinking like, okay, clearly there's more than one entity here, and we just had a question about, you know, the officers and the people who had died on this submarine accident, and so that was my response there. But I don't remember the events that led up to that very specific answer.
That's gonna be part of the conversation that's about to occur, I think. And if my recollection is correct, to that question, they respond, "We are the sunken ones." So they basically affirm that they are, in fact, the officers of that sunken submarine.
Okay. Oh boy.
I was going to say, because at the end, when I answered all those questions wrong, I thought I was insta-killing Jonas. And I was like,
yes.
Holy
It sure feels
crap.
that way.
Did I just kill him? But, okay, phew, he's just possessed. He's not dead.
He's just possessed.
He's just possessed. What a
Could be
relief.
worse.
We can fix this. We've seen this before, or you guys have.
Yeah.
So we gotta radio him. We gotta pull out the triangles to save Jonas here. And when we do the triangle thing, and with the controller vibrating and that wonderful audio effect that occurs, just making us very uncomfortable, the end result is that conversation with the entity that always comes. Freem, you had mentioned that in your discussion you had that opportunity to query who they were.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the other things that can come up, why are you here? Or what do you want? Some really interesting answers on these. Why are you here? What a question. Never left.
That's their response. Oof.
What do you want? I love this one. This is just it's creepy, but it fits into so many things that are a part of me. What do you want?
I bet it says to go home or something like
Time. Just time.
that. Huh. Oof. That gives me chills.
And then in the middle of it, there's a recitation of poetry. We are an island race, and throughout all time, the sea has ruled our breaks. But be wary, young ones. There will be other ships and other souls to sail them. There's also a conversation about why are you doing this to us, or something like that, and why should we care if we are doing this right in the back of the Hangman? Do you think that we want this? We don't want this. Nobody would want what we have.
That's messed up.
So they are definitely, excuse me, they're talking to us and giving us a lot of insight into both who they are and some of their motivations, some of the things that we've really been growing to suspect already, but we still don't know the methodology that they're trying to carry it out with. And now that the conversation is done and Jonas comes back, we can move forward and restart our quest, shaken once more, but maybe go find Clarissa and figure out what we're going to do next.
So when does the chalkboard get populated by more hands that just pepper the board?
Yeah, that's at the end of the Hangman game.
Yeah. Oh my god, that creeped me out.
Because it animates
because like you said, pTart, I assume when you answer 0 right and I get 1 right, I would have been a different story had I gotten all 3 right. But like the fact that it was like you said, the handprints show up and you're like, oh, I just killed Jonas. Awesome. There we go. Game over.
I tried to count how many handprints show up in the end, and I had a really hard time because there's a lot of them, and it's not in neat lines that make counting easy, and they're small enough that on the screen it's hard to count, but it's somewhere between 70 and 80 hands are added. So it could be very well that you have 75, 85 handprints on the blackboard by the end.
Man.
Whew. Is that number significant? Because you said what is it, 85?
85? 85 is the significant.
Yeah, 85 is the number of souls that were lost.
85 is the officers who are lost. It's not the total number of souls who are lost, because there were the 12 passengers.
That's right, didn't it?
But the 85 lost seem to be the most insistent. They are very focused on who they are. They're officers, and they're maybe a little haughty, and they're upset about this, whereas the passengers are just this afterthought, which I find to be interesting. I don't know if that's a correct reading, but it's definitely how I feel the game is talking about it, or at least the entities are talking about it to me through their conversations.
Mm-hmm. Sure. You kind of get the sense of that with the whole island, where you listen to all the flavor text about the military part of it, and you could see how that would be, these are just tourists, or these are just family, or these are just, they're not us, the brotherhood of this military complex, because you get that. I just all over. I get in this vibe of, hey, we're a tight knit group on this. We're in this isolated military base. We're all on a submarine together. It's a tight group, and so that totally makes sense.
Back at our first episode, I asked you guys about subtitles. Are you still playing with subtitles on now that you've turned it on? Were you playing through this section with subtitles on?
Yeah, I'm definitely doing the subtitles now.
I have subtitles as well.
I have no subtitles at all. Still playing blind.
I was playing with subtitles, and I noticed that the subtitles are categorizing the entity now most of the time as the ghosts. But a couple of times, it's not. It's got the triple question mark is talking to us. And that was a little confusing to me. Did they make a mistake in giving me the name of the ghosts too early? Or are there multiple entities, again, speaking to us, and some of them we know are ghosts, and some of them we don't know who they are yet? I also wanted to point out that when the ghosts are talking to us, either in the question mark form or as ghosts, I mentioned that Clarissa is red and Alex is this teal. The ghosts are a deep green. So when they're talking to us, they're in a deep green color. And I think that's important for our next scene.
Not for me, it's not.
We walk up the stairs to get to the next area, and
presumably this is where that noise happened, right? I mean, that we heard. You're kind of climbing to the top of the roof there. I'm expecting to find some sort of catastrophe.
Well, we get something similar to a catastrophe. We get yet another time loop.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have seen the time loops before. This is actually the first time that I, in my playthrough, experienced a time loop. So I didn't know what this was yet. So it was a surprising thing to me. We get into the time loop, and we have this thing where it is immediately apparent to us that something has changed, but not what it is. This is where we're going, and we're opening the door into the room where Clarissa should be. So we go in, and Clarissa is in there, kind of. We find Clarissa has hung herself, and then we pop back out, and we have to tell Jonas to prepare himself, or we can choose not to tell him. It's up to us. We can walk in again, and she's gone this time. And we walk in again, and it's just over and over. We're going through this process of dealing with trying to get to the radio to find out if we can contact anybody. And the ghosts are playing with us, presumably through this time loop. How is this time loop experience for you? Freem, you mentioned that you were expecting something terrible. Finding Clarissa hung That sounds pretty terrible.
Oh, I do.
I don't.
I don't recall that even
Interesting.
happening.
I
That
don't-
definitely happens.
I'm not sure it
Oh, dude,
definitely
'cause
happens. I
I-
think it definitely
like-
happens, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, my notes get very sparse at this point because I am invested. And so
Me
what I
too.
have written is a Clarissa dying thing,
Yeah.
but it's not a hanging.
Yeah, the other one is going to come in a second. Well, the last of the time loops.
Okay, that's what I thought, and so I don't remember this hanging
Yeah,
thing.
she's hung the very first time, and then we pop back out right away. So you may not even have seen her because the time loop happens very, very quickly there. But she's definitely there, and she's definitely hung.
Okay, yeah, I don't recall.
So we come in, and Clarissa is standing at the window. In fact, on top of the windowsill, on the outside.
Oh yeah.
And she's talking to us, and if you give her a long enough period of time, she will tell you a couple of interesting things, and she concludes her statement with, again, that last line of that poem. There will be other ships and other souls to sail them. And at that point, if you have not walked towards her and she concludes that, she throws herself off the windowsill. And if you try to walk towards her, as soon as you start walking towards her, she throws herself off. And she plummets, and we pan down as she falls and watch her hit the concrete.
She is definitely dead in front of that door. Like, there is a body in front of that door.
Yeah, that horrified.
On the emotional scale, this was like a 12 for me. You know, this was so intense.
Yeah, she still had that coloration. So, like, you could tell it wasn't... To me, it wasn't Clarissa, but it was like the ghosts essentially threw her off. Like, I didn't think that was Clarissa's choice to kill herself. Like, I thought she was clearly possessed, and that the ghosts essentially made her throw herself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I additionally, it was messed up. I actually had to pause there for a second because, emotions were like very high watching that scene. But after that happened, though, I was debating, I'm like, was that the real Clarissa? Like, I know she's possessed, but there's been copies of people around the island. Is she truly dead? I don't know, because there's other dead people talking to us. So, I don't know. That's kind of what I thought at that point.
Yeah, that was one of those moments that was a jaw-dropping type of a situation where it's like, did that really just happen? And that's the part I'm struggling with, is I'm not sure what's real and what's not. Because things will happen and you'll think, okay, so this definitely happened, and then the person disappears.
Right.
Like, so was this just in my head? Was this something that is gonna happen but hasn't actually happened yet?
Mm-hmm.
Or...
I remember, too, when you have to go back, like, after she jumps, and you're like, oh my god, I have to walk past her body.
And she's not there.
That was going through my head as we walked past the handprints on the chalkboard, and you open the door, no body. Where'd it go?
Oh gosh, no.
Think you got attacked by possums?
So, I want to bring in one more spoiler for people, unfortunately, because I think this is an important comparison. I know that there are a lot of fans of the video game Life is Strange. And in the video game Life is Strange, there's a sequence that is somewhat similar in terms of tone and the emotional effect it has on people with a suicide in a similar fashion. And in that game, your actions can change that to some extent. In this game, I know for a fact they cannot. And I know this because as I was playing this, I was playing it, as I think I mentioned, I was streaming this. And so my stream partner suggests that maybe we did poorly on the game of Hangman, and that's why she died. Or maybe we made wrong dialogue choices along the way. And do we want to try and reload it and try and do better? And I spend the next 2 hours in this section of the game.
Oh, jeez.
Trying to fix this.
And just no matter what, you can't do anything about it.
And that maybe lessens the impact somewhat, and I wish that it didn't, and I hope it doesn't minimize that impact because it is a very powerful moment for everyone. But it is also, I think, really telling how powerful it was that I was willing to invest that much more time into it to try and get a better outcome. That this video game character and the situation surrounding it is so important to me. I have heard many, many people say that Life is Strange has had that kind of effect on them. It didn't affect me. This game did.
I think so. Based on it, it's interesting to hear that side of it, because based on my choices to go to Ren and then go to Clarissa, after what happened to Clarissa happened, and I'm on my way to Hardened Tower, I am reflecting on, if I went the other way, would Clarissa be in the tower and Ren jumped off the cliff? Like, my decisions to go one way or the other is that, did I essentially curse the other one to die?
And that's a very logical game mechanic-y kind of way of thinking about things. And I think that makes a lot of sense for that to be a thought process for you.
Especially with, like, Ren being on that cliff. I was like, why is he doesn't have to be that close to the cliff, close to the edge?
No, I thought the same thing as well. I'm just thinking, okay, maybe it's because I chose to go Ren, with Ren first as well. And kind of like what Kronos is saying of, okay, what did I do to lead up to this? But in a weird way, it's almost kind of reassuring that my choices didn't, really truly in the end affect that. The same thing will happen regardless.
I also think it's alleviated by the fact that the body was gone once you you left through that door, and you're like, okay, so because the body is gone, either A, what I saw didn't actually happen, B, it was not Clarissa, it was some sort of other entity, or C, like, that actually did happen, but because everything's so messed up, like, I can't let it sink in right now. So the fact that she's not there anymore makes the whole scenario of, like, okay, I don't know what's going on right now. Things are weird, but we're gonna press on. We'll get to the bottom of this. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, as scared as they were, they still solved the mystery. So let's go.
Shaken up, but we have to press on because we have stuff to do. And some of the dialogue that's going on there as you're climbing back down the stairs between Alex and Jonas. Alex talking about how she's going to have to talk to Clarissa's mother about this. That was, really real and really harrowing stuff. Truly good writing.
Yeah.
I want to take a second here as well. I set it up a few minutes ago. I want to give you guys the payoff now. I mentioned that this is inevitable, but it's also, we're feeling more and more that it's not real, even though it had a very real effect on us psychologically and emotionally and on our characters in that regard. I mentioned that if you have the subtitles on, you saw the ghosts being called ghosts and talking in green, and we knew that Clarissa talked in red. In the room, as Clarissa is standing at the windowsill and talking to us, and right before she throws herself off, she's talking in green.
Oh.
Right.
I did not pick up on that with watching the subtitles.
Catch that either.
No, it's really subtle. It's there, but it is not something you're going to grasp right away, because it still says Clarissa. It's just, it's a different color now.
And I didn't have a chance to.
But like you guys said, though, when you didn't see the body there, that gave me some hope that, okay, maybe she's not actually really dead. Or who knows, this might be another time loop.
That also really amped up okay, we got to get off this island. Like, it's time to go. I don't want to hang out here any longer. The party time's over. I think we're out of beers. It's time to go.
And the brownies.
The brownies were gone.
And the brownies. Ren ate all the brownies. We need to go.
So we get to make our way back to Hardened Tower, and we meet up with Nona, who we met earlier, and sent on her way there, and Ren, who we sent off to get down from his high there. And I met up and carried, essentially, Ren back with me after that, and met up with Nona at the tower. Either way, you end up with the four of you on the tower, making a decision about what to do next. And surprisingly, Ren has a decent idea.
I didn't think it was that good of an idea. Actually, I kind of tuned out when they started arguing because things got really out of control between Ren and Jonas. Ugly. And I'm like, God, you guys just lay off. I'm sick of both of you.
Well, I think I know where this is one going. Ultimately, you have a choice to make about who you take with you on the next leg of your journey. You're going to go into town to enact Ren's plan, or at least some elements of Ren's plan. And you get to choose whether you're going to take Ren because it's his plan, Jonas because he's been with you and is not high, or screw them both and take Nona? Frim, I'm guessing you took Nona.
I tipped my hand. I'm like, listen, you little bratty boys. You know what? The ladies, we're out of here. You guys solve your little problems. Because, Jonas, you're up all on this dead chick Clarissa. Ren, you're high as a kite and completely annoying now. I'm done with both of you. Nona and I are getting off this island. You guys could stay in this tower for all I care. We gone.
Adam, who do you take?
On that, I stuck with Jonas. You know, I've been with him the whole time. We've experienced a lot of things together, and it's probably best to keep those two guys separated anyway. So I picked him.
I also picked Jonas, just because same reasons. He's been with me the whole time. You know, I'm trying to bond with my new brother. And I also was playing a little bit of matchmaking. I wanted to leave Ren and Nona together because they clearly have a thing for each other.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I now, to just add a little bit of context, too, to my decision, because we don't know anything about Nona, really, she's been very quiet, I thought this would be a great opportunity to learn more about her as a character as well. So that was playing into the background of my decision of like, all right, I get these two dudes. I don't know a thing about her. Let's just spend some time with her. Get to know her. Maybe she'll open up.
All right, so Freem, you're taking Nona, and Adam and pTart, you're taking Jonas. I also chose to take Nona, and we'll get back to that, I think, next time. We're going to catch back up with where people are, get through the last chunk of time that we have here before what I had said the stopping point would be when we get to the boathouse shortly. And we'll go all the way through that section, which is not terribly long, until we get to the point where we have the final section, the climax of the story, at the point when we're going to be climbing down a ladder. You have a scene transition that occurs right before you're marching down a very tall ladder. If you're at that ladder, you're at the right place to be caught up with what we're going to be talking about for next week. I want to thank you guys, as always, for joining me, Freamwhole, Carpe Adam 79, and pTart, for bringing your insights and experiences with this game, because my experiences with the game are my experience, and it's obviously something that's going to be very different for people based on their choices or their insights and what they've had happen in their own lives. And I think this game has a lot of stuff that's worth talking about, so I appreciate the time that you're giving to give me your insights and share it with the community.
Feelings mutual.
It's been super fun.
Yeah, this has been great.
I think one thing, if I could add, was in the Discord, Fighter Chip had said but listening to the first episode, was really excited that he seemed to have this, or he or she, they seem to have the same trajectory that I did with the characters. And I typed in there that, well, when you hear the next couple episodes, things are going to change. So whether you're on board with how my feelings go, you know, because so even an experience like that where you can start off on the same page and your view of all the characters continues to morph and just go in different directions as they develop. I mean, they're so deep. There's so much here. Kronos, this is great.
I love OXENFREE a lot. I love to talk about OXENFREE. In a lot of ways, even with as much as we've been talking about it, we're still only scratching the surface because of all the things that Night Studios has put into this game. There's a lot of material that I'm not talking about because I don't want to spend hours and hours talking about it and boring people. But if you want to know more, come bring your questions or your insights and join us in that Discord that Freamwhole was mentioning there. That's discord.io/AH101. There's a channel there called Game Club OXENFREE. Tell us your thoughts, what you're thinking about OXENFREE. And if you want to be part of this discussion live, let me know there, and I'll see what we can do to work you in, too.
Absolutely. It is so much fun, and we'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic. All right, guys, then until next time, thank you, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Watch out for the creepy ghosts.
Don't pee on them.